times, you better pray one of two things. Either you're a black person or you're a dead man from history. Yeah, because then the worst thing they can do is take your statue down.
Oh, yeah, yeah. When I'm so using on my system, I don't know if system's frozen. Oh, ah, thank God. It's crazy. The whole thing just collapsed on me. First of all, it wouldn't let me log on because, like we had too many videos on. So I had to delete one of the videos very quickly. and then it just froze, and then it closed down. I'm so used to Ron handling this thing that is like the thing is just like, whoa, I'm not ready for this. And I know I don't look like my normal self because if you notice, I'm trying not to open my mouth too much because I've got trigeminal myalgia, which is basically the nerves in my jaw. Um, apparently snapped them or something, which is why I couldn't make last week's show. And it's so stopped me from eating, it stopped me from drinking. I can't put anything on my face because it's so painful. They're giving me pain relief, but it's not working. The only thing that it does is it makes me sleep. So I haven't left my house since last week because of the pain. Um, and then I still haven't seen like a specialist because they said they sent me to a specialist. So I've got mandibular um temporal mandibular pain also, which is quite painful. So honestly, it's worse than a toothache because if it was toothache, that I've just taken out the tooth and I'll be fine by now. This, they can't take out anything, they can't do nothing, they can only give me medication, or if the worst comes to the worst, they do surgery. But then I'm still waiting to see a dentist, so it's so hard, just waiting. Um, yeah, so that's why I've been off, and that's why I look like this because I honestly cannot put makeup on my face. I literally cannot put anything because every time I try, even touch my face, it's like someone is drilling a hole in my head. So Ron should have been here today, sorting out the show, getting everything ready, but he had to go out. We have normal lives, we have to live with this thing, so yeah, it's been a bit quiet because I've just been trying to get better, trying to be okay. We did our play, and I know my face doesn't show it, but I'm so happy and so excited about it because we had a great show. We had our play with Hansel and Gretel and at the Bolton College, and I had Shima and Michelle come and surprise me. Pam was already coming, but it was so nice to have two people come and surprise me in the evening show. The principal of the college came to the first show and he was like, "You were a scary witch." And then the evaluation was really nice, just getting to know. And one thing I know that in my evaluation is the next play that we're going to do, I'm going to enjoy myself more because I was so worried about getting the lines right, getting the action right, that I really didn't enjoy myself that much. So I'm going to try as hard as possible to make sure that I enjoy myself. I'm sorry that I'm speaking in a very monotone way. I'm trying not to open my mouth too much because it's just so painful. And I'm trying to minimize how much I swallow because that triggers the muscles at the back here and that makes it worse. So Ron is gonna be here hopefully very soon and then he can, like anchor the show and I can just sit down. Ron is loving this whole thing because at least I'm not talking. I'm not talking, I'm shutting up so he can say whatever he wants to say and I have no opinion because I can't even be bothered with an opinion because I don't want to hurt myself. So I'm hoping that the guys will come on soon and join us. But we're gonna I'm sorry. The pain is bad. I can see people coming in, watching and going away. But I don't think I'm that boring now. So stay, don't go away. But what are we talking about today? We're talking about because Ron and I were talking about when you reach a certain age. And then Bumi Teller actually wrote something about it on her page, something close to it, about when you get to a certain age, when the available.
And this is what he
Oh
said.
God, sorry.
Sorry, go.
Me and Trevor Noah, I was watching it before and it keeps popping up. So basically, we're saying that if the desirable, so you have a certain idea of the kind of man you want to be with or the kind of woman you want to be with, tall, dark, handsome, she has to have boobs, ass, light skin, blah 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 blah. That's the kind of person you've always wanted. But then somehow you might meet them, but then they're not the ones that you want to settle down with. So they have the attributes, but there's something missing about it, or you're just unlucky and you're not even meeting anybody. And you've been trying and waiting, and the years are going past, and the years are going past. And like for us Nigerians, once you're 28-year olds, that's the way they see. You're like, you're old, you're off the shelf, you have no hope again to meet a single person, blah 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 blah. Is now an old person that you're going to meet, or you meet nobody at all, that kind of stuff. So when you're now past that age, you're now like on the shelf. So nobody wants you. So now the available is no longer available because the desirable is no longer available because you yourself, you're no longer. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm sorry. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Oh god. Mm. Mm. Oh god. Oh god. It's like someone ripped my head open forcefully. Ah. I wonder where the rest of the crew are, because a few people started to watch, and I guess I came across as boring because they've abandoned me. So we had three people, and suddenly it's now zero people. Nobody's watching again. Like, I beg, what is this? This is a person in pain. And like when I suggested maybe the show shouldn't hold, it was like I suggested the worst thing on earth. But I hope Ron is watching this and understanding that when someone is in pain, the last thing they should be doing is a show. So because it was like, no, we made a commitment. But I was like, I haven't seen pain that will humble you. But this pain is humbling me. My eyes are watering right now. Like tears are running down from my eyes. But I'm just, trying to push through. Oh God. And for the past how many days, my nose has been bleeding. I don't know why. For about 4 days now, I've been having nosebleeds, really bad ones. God, it's like I'm just coming to talk about my health issues here, which is not the case. Anyways, so basically, when you reach a certain age, the the desirable is no longer available. Even you are no longer desirable. You are not on the desirable list now. You are just on the available list. Like, okay, somebody wants a person to be with, you're available. It doesn't matter what you look like, it doesn't matter what you have to offer. You're just a body to fill up some space. And that's the same thing with you as a person. It's like you're no longer looking for, oh, he has to be tall, dark, handsome, rich, godly, loving, thoughtful, kind, blah blah. He's just is he a body? Can you occupy space in my house? Or can I occupy space in his house? End of story. That's what you're looking for. That's what you want. And it's like that's what it is. So Ron was like, once you get to a certain age, Ron is married. He's younger than I am, but he's married, so he is no longer in the searching for anything. So it was like, someone like you, Are you still looking for the desirable, or you're accepting that it's only the available that is there? But the thing is, for me, it's different because I have no interest in being married. So don't care whether it's desirable or available. Not interested. However, I'm interested in love. And because I'm interested in love, I don't think that I will ever want to go with an available, that oh, it's just available, because I want love. I don't want just a body to occupy space. I already can do bad by myself. I don't have money like that, but at least I can feed myself. I have a roof over my head. I have small jobs I do that can keep refilling my account. I don't need a lot of friends. The few friends I have are okay. Like everything that a person needs for their life to be fulfilled, I've got it already. I don't need a body to be in my house, or me to be in that body's house to feel fulfilled. But there are many people who need, who are still holding out, or still in the outlook for that body, that person that can be their second, that can be their partner, that can be the one that they're with. And then you can see the despair as each year starts to go past. You can see the despair in their eyes, like, is this the end? Is this how this story is going to end for us? Is this, there's no love here. They see people who are couples going out in the street, and you can see the longing in their eyes as they're looking at them, like, uh, really? So these people get to have love and I don't, that kind of stuff. If I sneeze one more time, I swear to God, I'm closing down this thing because I don't think my head could take another one. Uh uh so basically that's what we're going to talk about. But I'm sitting here by myself. My people, the panel, nobody is here. Ron is not here, and I don't feel great. And that's just the plain truth. I'm already 22 minutes in. Ron said he would be about 8:30, so we still have about 6 minutes to wait for him. I was expecting Coyote because Coyote and I were chatting. We chatted for about an hour last night before we went to see, because it was a project that both of us were doing. Yeah, we fight on the panel, but we really are all friends, all of us. Candy, Bumi, Habi, all of us. Occasionally we like get to talk with one another, that kind of thing. So we're talking about, if Kayode is watching this, Kayode will be like, no, shut up, don't tell them. Oh, I'm desperate. Nobody is watching. I'm trying not to laugh because I'm in so much pain. Oh God. Hmm. I'm desperate, Kayode. Nobody is watching, so I'm going to tell them what we were talking about last night. If you don't want me to talk about it, better quickly come and show your face. So we were talking about. I'm trying not to laugh. We were talking about, like, what is it that people look for in sexual partners. Like, okay, so like, Ron, now Ron is a reverend, so he always come from the spirit akoko part. Everything is a righteous something and all of that. Praise God for his life. We thank God for people like him. But now, okay, let me address a question that I've been asked about this show. That, Abby, aren't you a Christian? Why is like you're encouraging premarital sex? You're encouraging. Okay, someone dropped me a comment. Let me see. Someone said spill the beans. I didn't talk about show boy just said spill the beans. Olofofo. Why are you a fofo? Are you a fofo like this? So I was like, Abby, should you say you're a Christian? How can you be talking about premarital sex and then encouraging it and blah 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 and this and that and that? Now you need to understand something. right? I I believe in God and I believe in Jesus and I grew up in deeper life, right? But because of the circumstances that are peculiar to me, and that's why I'm very, very careful when I'm talking about these things to make it that it's peculiar to me. I got experiences that I shouldn't have had any business knowing too early in life. And those things mess up your mind. They mess up your mind, they mess up your psyche, they mess up everything that you are. And there's only so much for me, the way I believe, there's only so much you can hide and tuck it under religious beliefs or spiritual whatever, because especially depending on how long you were under that kind of influence for, that takes a big chunk of who you are. Because again, when you're a child till you're about 7 8, a person can mold you for who you're going to be for the rest of your life. And for a long time it was like, oh, okay, we're very religious, we don't like this, we don't do this, we don't do that. I mean, well, inside the bottom part of my mind, I know that for a long time I didn't have any control over this thing. And then I went to uni and I had control and I could control it and I loved the way that I could control it. And then of course it was not like, oh, we are born again, we are born again, we are born wudu wudu, we are born everything. And that's why, when Bumi is talking, I listen to her and I'm like, yeah, she actually says a lot of things that I agree with, because like the biology of who you are, there's only so much you can dig that thing under. And that's why you see all these stories will come up of people who we've placed on pedestals suddenly falling off these pedestals and people talking about them. What did you expect? They're human being now. When I hear these stories and people are like, oh, I expected better. I'm like, oh, shut up. What are you talking about? Even you, of your own self, do you expect better? Talk less of somebody who is busy minding his own business, or who Providence has pushed out to be in a position and you're going, oh, I expected better. Please go and sit down somewhere. And because I'm in pain, that is annoying me. Go and sit down somewhere, Joe. Which one is I expected better? So, like, look, the reality of who we are, on when the door is closed at night and it's us and our self, when nobody is watching and we are our true self, our true, 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 true self, not the one that even because sometimes when it is in the dark, we still lie. We'll still be like, oh, it's just me alone in the dark with myself. I have this righteous, holy person. Eh, okay. Let the true, true, true self of yourself be alone with you. And we start to see the real who you are. And I'm like, look, if anybody can be as the holy books say and be without any kind of sexuality and be, holy, pure, whatever I call it, more power to you. Great respect. I don't even want to know how you do it, because once upon a time I'll be like, I want you to tell me how you did it. I want to know how you did it. I don't want to know. Bless God for you. But please, the way we bless God for you, just leave us.
Okay, okay.
Run,
I'm sorry.
run. Confess, you were running when you heard what I was talking about. You're like, let me shut that stupid woman up. God, God.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you
Oh,
very
let
much.
me laugh, please, my God.
Ah, good. I
How
just put on
how
like a
quickly
man.
did you run when you were watching the screen and you saw what I was about to talk about?
I
How
couldn't
quickly were you
even
running?
watch. I was just rushing.
Yeah. Well, I
So I
was I
just
was about to spill some bad beans, but now that you're here, I'll keep it for another
what
day.
happened? Who is committing
Nothing.
offense?
Nah, nobody. I was going to talk about
Anyway,
something that me and Kayode talked about yesterday. Well, so
Are you
that
sure?
kind of
Wait
so
for
that
him to
kind of
come
will not go and
on.
look for long bow arrow and shoot me dead. Let me give
Wait
my
for him
phone.
to come on board now.
Me, I'm not even saying anything again because if I tell him, he'll be like, Abby, are you mad? Why? I went and sneezed. It's as if somebody ripped my face apart. The pain is
Oh,
still.
sorry about that. Oh,
Well, thank
I'm
God you are here
surprised
because I think I have
that
done more than enough in holding people's attention. Although, imagine, at the point I started, there was nobody. Then three people started watching. I was so boring because I can't really talk much with my mouth. That all three people left.
it's not about being boring. It's just that
Although,
we are having
just
now.
before you came, I had five people. So at least my street cred came back to normal. So, anyways, I'm leaving you to talk because I'm really hurting. I'm hurting real
I'm
bad.
sorry about that. Just 1 second. I'm
So
just trying to. Can you please tag everybody because Bumi was asking
don't
for the tag.
don't don't tell me 1 second. Take the thing. Be like Jesus and take this wheel right now. I'm not talking anything. Ah, thank God Mr. H is here. Mr. H, thank God. Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Join run. Be talking. Bye bye. I'm not talking
Where's,
again. My mouth.
where's Abia and Co? Uh, 1 second. I'm almost done. I just let me do the tagging. I'm almost done. I just want to make sure I
Mr.
get it.
H, oh yeah, be talking, be talking. Just say something. Tell us about your day.
But it's okay, no problem. Everything's all right. Mr. Ron.
Yeah, yeah. I'm almost here. 1 second.
Oh,
Sorry,
okay.
I just need to do this now.
Abby, where were you last week?
You know here. Oh God.
Oh, it's like you have to go backstage.
Mm. Here say I get trigeminal neuralgia. I'm in so much pain. My eyes are spinning. Oh yeah, me una dey talk. I go just stay here quietly. I beg. Me una dey talk
Okay,
the talk.
Okay,
okay, sorry about
so
that.
the topic today in lay terms is do we okay now originally it was a question for the ladies, which is when desirability becomes absent, should availability trump it? So, in simple, in or lay terms, we're actually saying that should people who like originally were waiting for true love before they get married just settle down with anybody they find, just as long as they settle down, can you just wing it like that instead of waiting forever and all that? So I think that's the best way to explain it. And more often than not, it happens more to the ladies because we have situations where women actually want have to wait. They're in relationships, and sometimes I'm talking about relationships that take for long, to be defined. Like, where are we going to? How long is this dating going to be? And with the general culture, a woman will not go and propose to a guy for marriage, so she has to wait for the man in order to get married. So, with that kind of system in place, where one gender is the only one required to push and the other one is required to wait, sorry, it brings a kind of how will I put it brings a kind of stalemate in some situation. Because me, I'm an advocate of shoot your shot. Whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, if you see who you like and you feel the other person can gel or flow with you, by all means, go for it. Even if you're a lady, some guys, there's this assumption that all guys are sharp, all guys are, very open-minded or non-shy. it's not true. Just like you have shy ladies, you also have shy men. You know? So if you find yourself in a, it doesn't even have to be a stalemate situation. It could even be somebody you find for the first time. As a lady, you see that he dresses properly, he talk. Anyway, he ticks all your, all your checklist. Please, for goodness sake, go for it. Let me introduce somebody that abandoned us before and he has come back again. Today, which spirit entered you today?
Mr. Moy, greetings, sir.
Welcome to the show.
It is well.
No, don't worry. Don't mind my life.
I commented earlier for my sister to spill the beans. I didn't think she
Oh,
realized it was me.
no, I don't want to. I need to know the magnitude of the scandal before we go ahead with it because I don't want a major commotion. She will still talk. I trust Abby. Abby does not know how to hide secrets or bottle something. She will still explode. She will still. I know her very well. Don't worry yourself. Hamza, what do you
Yes.
have to say? I've defined it. I've made it simple.
Excuse
So
me, what did you say that Abby knows how to?
I said you don't know how to bottle secrets like that. You eventually tell us this thing that you've refused to tell us. So
What do you mean
I
that
won't
Abby
even
refused
bother
to
you.
say?
What's the
What?
thing? The bean he wanted to spill.
Oh, before you came. Oh, today were you
Yeah,
listening?
yes,
I
now.
commented earlier now. I was saying spill the beans.
Oh, you want you
I
want
thought you were
you want
talking to
Kayode
yourself.
to kill me. You want Kayode to kill me because the only reason why I was saying I was going to spill it was I was hoping that he would run and be like, if you open your mouth, I will kill you. Pata, pata. No, continue that gist. I'm telling you, I'm in so much pain right now. Just continue your gist.
Okay, just relax for the. We'll call you later to reveal to us. So, Mr. Hamza, what do you have to say?
Yeah, what I have to say is that I go with that your thought when you say, shoot your shots, you know because sometimes you people have this goes for the ladies, that they have to wait a long time for their suitors to say yes, or to propose to them or things like that. And sometimes you see when, you know, I've heard about situation when the female waits and wait, then at the end of the day, they just find somebody and just, hook up with. It's not probably the person they really want to be with, but because of the waiting period and what other people have been saying, sometimes we human beings tend to listen to what people say. Maybe your family member is giving you pressure, the society is giving you pressure, and your surroundings giving you pressure. That look, if you think you're gonna wait, you will have to wait forever, and you say, okay, fine. You just see, and those kind of people at the end of the day, they don't end up being happy because it's just as if it's what is just passing by that you just grab because you just want you just want to be good in the eyes of the people because of the pressure the people has given you, or the pressure that your family people are giving you. And you say, okay, age is not on my side anymore. I don't have kids. And because you see some ladies, that this is something I have witnessed, that are of age, that when I even went to school, probably they are 40, 35, 39, 38, and they don't have a husband, or are they married, or do they have kids? And you could see that this problem emanated from the family itself. It's not their fault, because maybe they have probably found somebody that they want to be with, and their family say, no, 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 don't be with this kind of person. Or sometimes it even is the woman itself that causes it upon themselves, because sometimes they see a suitor and they downgrade the tutor. He doesn't have money, he doesn't have a car, he's this, and they have to wait now and wait and wait. They're waiting for somebody that's going to have a car, is going to have a ready-made man. At the end of the day, the time has passed, and and then now the pressure starts coming. You have to marry, and anybody that just comes, they just grab the person and they just want to move on. And at the end of the day, you find them not being happy. I've seen women like that I know personally that have said to me, look, I just went into this because the pressure was too much from my family side, and I just have to just make them happy, put a smile on their face. That's I think that's what I my own opinion, my own little opinion on this. Where's Ron gone now? Yeah. You mute yourself.
I'm sorry. I won't say it's virtually the same thing I'm saying now, because uh we set ourselves up in a certain way. At the end of the day, maybe for some reason, like I believe rules can be bent to some extent, right? I've seen oh, hold on. I'm very
I guess I have to
You're welcome,
join.
sir.
I
You're
have to
welcome,
join
sir.
early so that you will not interrupt people because you are going to do it either way. H, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, and you?
Awesome.
I hope you can see the message on the screen. They say you should spill it. Oh.
I was hearing you, Abby, on YouTube. I was listening to you earlier. I was waiting for you to spill. Yeah, now you're coming to threaten me. As if when you spill it, now my beans go spill. You would think it's my beans she wanted to spill. It's her own beans she wants to spill. Oh. She just
It's like people are even
No,
interested in this.
what I was going to do was I was going to backdate the beans to your own.
So I mean, as my North American exco now here, the guy quickly logged on. He wants to hear just that they will use against me to remove me from office. No said, okay, all right, so forget. If you didn't get that joke, that's it.
That is going on, though.
I was going to backdate the beans to your own, not my own that we talked yesterday.
Whatever.
I was going to backdate it to your own beans. Then if you didn't come out, so I was going to start with the beginning of the beans, then see if you're going to come out and be like, I'll be
Yeah. So see, this is that's so that they put Igbo for person pocket now. This is when she don't start out. Some people come in there, they wonder which high. Now they're putting 2 and 2 together, then they get 22 or 222. Or no, it will be 2 to the power of 2 squared. Anyway, so what is the topic today? Why is everybody silent? Now only me silent. I mean, now only me.
No, we just muted so that we avoid noise class.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the topic was like, should people shoot their shots when they see who they like, or they should just keep waiting till life passes them by, or they should settle with whoever is available?
You should wait. Wait for Prince Charming to come. Yeah, that's the thing. So first of all, who made the rules that one person must marry? First of all, that people are now They call it settle down. Why you not settle down if you decide you're not marrying? After all, even self, for if we go to Bible, the guy where they write 2/3 of the New Testament, him no marry. Jesus go, him no marry. The advice gone where they there and I say make you no marry, but if you know say you no fit handle yourself, then marry. It's a second choice. It's not a first choice. Why then come they talk say make person pick anybody will come along? Why? What's the reason? Why should anyone?
It's sometimes family pressure and the societal pressure.
Hey, just like the person with the family pressure into make it born picking, he come born and finish. Nobody come be there to support her. Family pressure. Now, so everybody is always trying to play. People, or rather, people try to play. Let me put it this way: people want to drive your life till it wrecks. When it wrecks, they just get out of your life vehicle and enter their own and continue driving. Right? Why would somebody be telling somebody else to do something that the person doesn't want to do until it becomes a problem? When it becomes a problem, they walk away. The very first thing actually is, Abby, you need to go and take medication or to lie down or one of the three or two. But this one you want to pass out for screen, so no, you don't have to say.
I'm telling you, you know what's made it worse? I sneezed, and honestly, it feels as if someone took my face and ripped it apart, and it hasn't yet sewn back together. That's the way.
Meds you can take.
I've taken them, but they said that I'll have to give it a couple of days because I took it and it wasn't working at all. So I was adding paracetamol and ibuprofen together with it. So I now called my GP and said, look, the medication you gave me is not working. Oh. So he now said, no, it's too early. I have to give it time because basically it's 3 nerves in my jaw muscle that have snapped.
Oh.
And then I also have like some pain.
Can you use something like ice on it? Or No, I'm talking on the outside, like on
no. I'm telling you, I can't tolerate any kind. Like I can just about tolerate warm water, but I can't tolerate anything cold. I've not eaten properly. I managed to put some mash in my mouth, but the problem is when I swallow, then I trigger the pain there.
Oh.
So I haven't left my house since last Wednesday. I've not gone to college. I've not gone anywhere. Just been in so much pain. Can't deal.
I was saying something like on the outside. So what if you use warm water to wash your face? No?
I can't even. You know how much I love my makeup. I can't even put makeup on my own face.
Oh.
Do you know how light a powder brush is? And I can't even put it on my own face.
Oh, sorry. Well, so, okay. As I was saying, like, to be married, has to be the choice of the person who is involved and solely that person's choice. And there is no, why would you go and manage what you don't want for the rest of your life? Is the question, right? It serves nobody really that somebody, you go and hook up your life to somebody that you really don't like just to make somebody else who doesn't care about you happy. And they're not usually happy even afterwards. They just want to eat rice on that day. You might as well have taken them to the eatery and given them the food without necessarily signing a life contract that will make you unhappy. See? So that's the spill there. As far as I'm concerned, is that marriage is not it's not a number one thing. It's not a number one certificate to have. It's not even a number two. What's more important is that you are able to basically support yourself, and then you can now decide to share your life with somebody that you like. I think that's the.
May I quickly pop in because oh.
Don't you have a salute for Bumi when she shows up?
I'm looking for a fanfare. I'm sure by next week I'll get one. A fanfare that will not cost us money.
Bumi, it's so nice to see you. Unfortunately, I've got to go because I can't take the pain anymore.
So
Um,
So,
come on, start
so
while you're offline.
Huh?
now, wow, Bumi, yeah, that place looks like a five-star hotel.
Ah, that's
it
our
looks
new place. So
amazing. Looks amazing,
They're living
actually.
large.
People
as
saying
soon as I
exactly.
arrive US, I don't get accommodation. Big house, very
For
big
where? Who
house,
does you?
And it's
big
saying
But this is
accommodation.
full of regrets
I want
right
to
now.
quickly say this because I've got to go because I'm so sorry, but the pain is, Ron was saying making a statement last week. He was like, when I make a commitment, I don't default. I was like, you never see pain will go humble you. I've got fibromyalgia and I've got it really bad, and I thought I knew pain, but I'm telling you, this pain that I'm going through, I have never experienced pain like this in my life. It has humbled me. So I just need to go because I'm not myself at all. But I just want to say something to the point because it was this evening that I was like, Ron, what are we talking about? The thing is, look, we have to accept that not everybody in this world is going to be married, whether we want to believe it or not. Not all of us go marry, not all of us go born. But you see, one thing that all of us will strive for at one point in time or the other is to find the person who is our person that, whether you want to call it love, the person that you are comfortable with. It could be a friend that you just be friends for together. There are people who they are friends. There's nothing romantic, but they are so comfortable with each other. They live with each other. They are like that. They die. They don't, and that's all they need. All they need is that friendship. They just need that companionship of that friendship. They don't need anything romantical or sexual or anything. Some people they want sexual. Yeah, I want to, let everybody talk their own. Some people want sexual that, let me carry away for the how many years I can carry away. Then after that, we go they look ourselves. They. Some people want, that whole thing of, I want a family, I want something to continue myself, blah blah blah. Everybody at the end of it, as they say for Nigeria, we all go chop breakfast one way or the other, you know. But this thing of people, and this is the thing that annoys me the most, and I must be honest, and Christian people annoy me the most with it, is like anything that doesn't conform to Christianity is not right. Like as if now only una dey this world. Now only una this world dey for. So if anything does not conform to and especially Nigerian morality, not just Nigerian form of morality, if you not conform, bamba, hey, my carer is here. So I'll go and open the door and then I'll say goodbye. Not be only una day. Not be only una day. The world is big. It has space for everybody. Day your day, live your life, let everybody else live their life. Why must you insist that if it's not conformed by your own, then it's wrong? That's the thing that blows my mind. So that's what I'm going to say. I'm going to get my carer and I'm going to bed. It was lovely meeting you guys.
Feel better.
Shit. Sorry, I'm cussing on air. Sorry.
Sorry, Abby.
This been going on since this is like the second week, non-stop.
I know. I feel really bad for her.
Yeah, because why I feel terrible is that it's not like it's a toothache, you can take it off and it's over. No, it's even affecting the whole nerves connected to her jaw. So it's plus headache, plus the fibromyalgia, plus the everything. It's just not easy. I was so far away from home. So as soon as I just checked, I'm like, I need to run because I didn't want her to go ahead talking too much.
But yeah, knowing that she's sick.
She's not, she didn't even go out this week.
Wow.
She's been, uh, she's been at home all week. So how are you doing, Bumi? Have you seen the title for today?
So what did we decide?
Okay. When desirability becomes absent, should availability trump it? So the lay term is um when should you wait for your true love before you get married, or do you settle down? Are you there?
Yeah, I want to look at this on my computer.
Oh, okay. So let's just wait for her to come back and okay. So okay, so Oga, you were saying something.
Yes,
You can still continue.
I was saying that first of all, marriage is not supposed to be the highest priority of a person. I was saying that if society pressurizes people, that same society will never be happy, no matter what. So anybody who has modeled their life after making society happy will be unhappy most of their life, if not all. Because society basically derives more pleasure in the unhappiness of people so that it can be news, something to talk about. Nobody, you see, the discussion in discussion groups, all the way, any kind of group, whether it's a whether it's a prayer group, it's always about somebody else's problem. Whether it's just a gist, sit down and gist, it's usually about somebody else's problem. It's never about the fact that things are going well with one person or the other. That's not news. News is always something is wrong with somebody, right? So whether anyone who is now trying to make sure that they are not a topic of discussion will spend a lot of time, very limited time that we have, worrying about people who they don't care about you one bit. They just need a topic of discussion for a minute, right? And then as soon as you think that you have impressed one side, actually you become the topic of discussion for another side. So it's a total waste of time, total waste of your life to be very concerned about what somebody else thinks about you. Because whether you like it or not, right? If you say nothing, how many times have you walked by somebody on the way, right? And then you actually started to make up a story about their life. Just walk past somebody and you start making up a story about somebody's life. That's just how humans are wired, right? You see something and you start making up a story about it. In fact, there is never a void, right? You make up the story, and then what happens is that when you start to hear what the real story is, it replaces what you had already made up. But for every human being, you always make something up. You might be consciously telling yourself that, oh, you should not make up a story along a certain route just because of how they look or just because of how they speak, but your mind is constantly making up a story, right? So when we are working on our own personal biases, to be biased just means that anytime you make up a story, you look at certain features of somebody and you start making up a story about the person based off of those features. But to not be biased doesn't mean that you don't make up a story. It's just that you now allow your mind to be able to say that, yes, just because this person looks like this does not mean that they fall into the dark side of your story making machine, right? So worrying about people, as far as I'm concerned, is the biggest problem an individual can have in life because they will never be free. And the people who you say are free are people who have gotten to the point where they don't give a cookie, for what anybody thinks. Period. You know, but then that's
Well,
just
okay, just save that last one. Let's have Bumi give. I'm loving this Bumi's house. Anyway, let's have Bumi tell us her own version
in her five
and what
stars.
she thinks about it.
Well, the way you've worded it is when desirability is absent, should availability trump it. Um, like I wrote about this earlier, as you know, but I was really focused on having children, like, and having a family. Because if you're not attracted to someone, why would you want to fuck with them? Why would you take yourself through all of that? But marriage is that one exception. If you find that you want to get married, well, if you feel like you want to have a family, you want to have children, you want to experience the family life. My thing is, do you have to be in love? Not necessarily, attracted. Maybe a little bit of attraction doesn't hurt. You can't be turned off by the person for sure. But today in the West, we're sold on this idea of true love and romantic love and the one and your soulmate and all this and all that. So my thinking is that if that person doesn't show up, but there's a guy or a woman there who is dependable, who can fulfill the role of a co-parent, who can be a good companion, what is wrong with going ahead and marrying such a person? And this is especially true for women, because I think men already do this. I've noticed that men and rich people are very intentional about who they marry. They don't fuck around. They don't get airy-fairy about it. They stick to the cocoa of the matter always. They're always about the bottom line and the things that matter. But women have been fed this idea that it has to be Prince Charming, it has to sweep you off your feet, don't marry if it's not true love. And I challenge that. I challenge that for two reasons. One is because we were marrying for a millennia and creating families without the idea of romantic love before. And secondly, because especially in the West, where they're creating a new world where the only kind of family acceptable is the nuclear family, so there's no extended family. It's not like, oh, you can say, oh, I'm not, I want to wait for Prince Charming. It's not like I'm lonely, I'm at home with my family, my parents, or me and my, they don't encourage that kind of life in the West, so it's usually you by yourself. If you're not married, then you're alone. So those two things make me feel like women should really rethink this idea that they have to be head over heels in love before they marry someone. And also, I don't really think that the guy that makes women excited is the best guy to have children with. I feel like most guys who are dependable and not that exciting, and guys who are exciting and not going to be that dependable. And what matters to you when you're trying to have children? But women don't like to hear this, especially Nigerian women. And I don't blame them, because they are on the opposite side of the pendulum, right? Where in Nigeria, married by force, stay in that marriage whether it's good or not. And so there's a backlash against that makes them just want to adopt Western ways without any, discernment at all. And I don't agree with that. So.
I can't believe I'm agreeing with you.
It's just going to be four of us agreeing with ourselves today.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm agreeing with you, but
they're mad at me right now on Facebook. They're terrified,
But the question is, why do you have to have children?
You don't. That's what I'm saying. Like, it depends on. I feel like the problem with today's woman is this idea. They've been fed this idea that they can have it all and they want it all, and that's when they start to run into problems. Like, if you decide, you know what, I don't really want children, I don't want a family, I just want love, you are more likely to find it than if you're saying, I want love, I want children, I want a husband, I want career, I want it all. Like, how many people does that shit happen for? Very few. Even men, this is the thing women miss. Women think that men are all married to the loves of their lives or something. No, a lot of times a man too probably met the love of his life before he had money, or after he had money, or some very convenient time, and he just had to live with it. When he felt he was ready to marry and he checked his situation, I was like, okay, I'm ready to marry. He then looked around him and said, okay, that might not necessarily be the love of his life either. I feel like men tend to be a bit more sensible about a decision on who to marry, whereas women are just all feelings and emotions.
I think for men it's a little different because the preparations for men is difficult. No, for a man to get a wife or a family, he has to be financially, emotionally, spiritually prepared for in the sense that he has to be stable financially. And this is why a lot of people say that they rather, if it were possible, they'll set a benchmark for marrying for guys. They're like, okay, men, before you get married, you should hit the age of 35 before you get married. Then, yeah, and when you look into it, it does make a lot of sense because that way, think about it. What's the number one problem in most marriages? Before women get married, they always okay. Before they get married, they always pretend like somebody's echoing, somebody's watching too.
I'm sure it's Kaide. The way he's laughing is obviously.
No, I muted myself, so it can't be me.
Wait, hold on. Okay, so it was Mr. H. So, that's it.
See, Mimi just looked at me and accused me based on my look.
I was just teasing you.
You picked me based on my look.
Look on your face.
You looked at Mr. H. He looks innocent. It's like
I
no,
know, right?
you make up a story. That is this guy that is laughing. That's the guy. This Mr.
But I didn't do anything. I'm not watching. I'm only working on my laptop.
Yeah, but it was echoing. You were watching it from two browsers.
I'm not watching it for two brothers, just one.
It was when I muted you, the sound went off. Okay, so like I was saying, when I think guys should be prepared in the sense that they need to have certain things on ground because if you check the number one source of misunderstandings or conflict in every home, number one, if you take a broad sample, is usually finances. When before you get married, the women will always pretend like, don't worry, I love you. Love will take us through the seas, over the mountain, blah, 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 blah. Then, if you foolishly listen to what she's telling you, and get married without money,
You will
still go and look for that money, last. That money you got, I've seen a wicked. So this chick I've got, she's not bothering me for money. She just loves me. She loves me for who I am. And you need to see how silly these people look when they say it. And I'm like, yes.
A lot of women believe it at the time that they're saying it. You know.
But I want to say something. Why would you want to hang everything on one person's neck? That's what I don't understand. Like that's what I said the first time we had the topic. I think the last time I said in any relationship, once you begin to think what you can get, the monetary value, you have lost the basic. Because that's the problem. We need to be frank with each other.
Is it only the monetary value or what you can get?
Wait, I see that you're still new to this show.
Yeah.
Watch the screen. Let's relearn again. Okay. Hypergamy, the action of forming sexual relationship with a person of a superior sociological or educational background.
Does that mean everybody's involved in hypergamy?
No, women are hypergamous by nature.
Yes.
A woman will select her best option. Best option by default.
And there's a reason for that, and that is not our fault, Mr. H. You may be too young.
No, the problem is that life is up and down. A man that wants to get married to you or that likes you will probably have now. Then later something happens, it comes down. What about you, woman? You're supposed to support. You remember this other guy? There was about three topics ago that the guy said his father lost his job or something like that. That the mother carried him home for maybe 5 years before the father got a job back, and nobody knew that the father didn't have a job. That is the real women we are talking about. Because there's some women, once something happened to their spouse, that is the end. They are as useless as anything. So the thing is that a woman must come into a marriage or relationship that they will need to put something on the table. So what if something happened to the man dies? What happens? Okay, so everybody will hungry now. So the thing is that women nowadays, they go into relationship because what they will get, what they will eat, what they will drink. And at the end of the day, when the roller coaster stops, you will see that they cannot survive alone. Look, I got into an Uber some years ago. So I went to the bank. I told the guy to wait for me. So when I got back, the guy was already sleeping in the Uber car. I asked the guy, my friend, did you sleep at home? How come you're sleeping by this thing? And the guy said, hey, my brother, let me tell you something. There's something bothering me, and you're a man. Let me discuss this thing with you. I said, okay. But what is it? He said, look, I do everything for my wife. My wife stays at home. She does not do anything. I do everything for her. I pay for the DSTV. I pay for the rent. I take care of the children with this Uber job I'm doing. But the thing is that she complains all the time. It's either she saw a shoe on the TV she wants to buy, and one day, the last time, now she's telling me that all my mates are driving Benz, I'm not driving Benz. That is what I'm saying. I have seen a couple that they asked me to come and talk, to come and help them solve their issue. The lady was telling the guy, all your mates are driving Benz, you are still driving this one. Then I asked the lady, can't you two go and look for money and buy Benz so that you people can be driving? I don't you call it a relationship? The problem nowadays is that women get into relationship and marriage because of money. At the end of the day, when the man is tired now, then she cannot, sometimes if you just let somebody to do everything, the day the person is not there anymore, then you will see that we cannot do anything. So sometimes you must let, if I'm in a relationship, I tell my woman, look,
stop laughing, you make me laugh.
Honestly, we need to be true to ourselves because we are having children now and we need to educate them. If I have two female ladies, two female child, I need to educate them that, look, don't go and depend on a man at the end, because at the end of the day, what if one day he loses his job? What is going to happen? If he loses his job, what is going to happen? Is it that is going to be the end of the house? What if the man dies? Sometimes the new generation is like, everything's about money. They don't buy me this, they don't buy me that. What about you? Can't you buy for people? That's what I used to tell them. It takes you out every day to eat. One day, can't you say, okay,
what of educating Mr. H? What of educating the man that he should not just pick up a woman just because she looks pretty? He should pick up somebody that is already taking care of her own self.
Yeah, right? But some of them are pretenders, like Ron said. Some of them are pretenders. They say some of them, when they start the thing, they will say, I don't want anything. I don't want anything.
No, Mr. Head, the man too needs to be educated. You don't pick up a liability and be expecting it to turn into an asset.
But sometimes you'll be getting into it, you don't know you are entering a liability.
Well, then that's the fault of the man too. He should have opened his eyes, right, in making that choice. I was laughing earlier on because I still remember a friend of mine whose wife basically went and quoted and mentioned one of his friends that he's doing something better. After the guy looked at her and said, I think you're going to pack your things and go to that house to go and be with that person. Because in this house, that thing you are looking for ain't gonna happen, right? Yeah. So the reality actually is that in a man making a choice, especially if he is of a certain means, like, so for example, if he has a job and he's now deciding that he wants a partner, interview people before you pick somebody as partner. Now you went and picked fine face who was not working, but every time she meets you for a date, she's basically wearing something worth $10,000. You know how they assess people, and this person is not working, and you now went up. Do you not know what you got yourself into? You ask her what she's doing for work. She's not doing anything. She's at home, but every time she's dressed up to kill. Do you know? Don't you have eyes? What is all your education for? You were pee-whipped.
I was waiting to defend my gender, but Kaide did a decent job.
You were pee-whipped. That's just the thing. So for the daughters, if I have a daughter it is only natural that I will train her to the point where she can buy all her stuff, right? I assume that yours now, basically, I am assuming that if you have daughters now, you are not, there is, at no point are you giving your own daughters the impression that they are inferior to your sons, which means that they are going to the same schools, which means that whatever the level of aspiration of your male kids, basically is applicable to your daughters also, right?
Yeah.
So
is it true? Is that the situation, Mr. H? Do your sons do as much chores as your daughters? Because this is really the cocoa of the matter, honestly. That I want you to know, because I know Coyote and Ron are old enough that they will know it. But you're young, and I can hear the bitterness in your voice. And I don't blame you. It's true. Some bitches are trouble. There's no doubt about it. But as Coyote said, you two, you have to shine eyes more. You have to know. But sometimes you're looking at ass, you're looking at breasts. You're not using sense. But that aside, we always have to remember that we live in a patriarchal society, right? So we raise boys and girls differently. We still in Nigeria, we raise our daughters to be wives before we raise them to be people who make money, whereas we raise our sons differently. It's just easier for boys to have access to wealth than girls. There's still places that girls can't go to. Girls can't go to bear parlor where boys are sitting around making, business plans, right? In most households,
not in South Africa. Not in South Africa.
In Nigeria, it's still. It's not that there are no women there, but they look at them one kind. It's not the woman that you want to marry that you're supposed to be at the beer parlor where deals are being made. And even before that, we still know that 60% of the chores are done by girls and not by boys. If somebody is sick at home or you need a caretaker, it's the daughter that you call, not the son. You understand? Yeah. So while the boy is learning things that will help him in life, learning to be a risk taker, that's another one, right? The way we raise our daughters, we're always scared that they're going to be hurt or somebody's going to hurt them. We don't want them to go out. We don't want them to climb anything too risky. But we don't treat boys that way. If boys are doing something risky, we'll hail them. Correct. Look at this guy. He's so brave. You're going to be a man one day. Even just in the playground, the way we treat them is differently. So we're socialized to prepare boys for a world of competition, a world of risk-taking, a world where it's okay for them to go out there and take theirs. And we do not prepare girls in the same way at all. So it's not a surprise that when we're adults, we don't have as much money as you. I'm not trying to excuse some of these women's behavior. I'm just saying we have to be fair and start from the fact that men and women do not have the same access to wealth in any society. And the more conservative the society, the worse it is. That's why Nigerian women are so much worse, because poverty is worse there, and the society is very, very conservative. But I agree with you, it's getting worse now because of social media. They have no sense. They've fucking lost their mind. Girls lie to each other. That's sugar daddy. You know what he's spending on me, and it's all nonsense. And then the other one expects it too. It's just going on. But let me stop there. I think Candy wants to say something.
No, I was agreeing with you that it's insane. Yeah.
Right. So we have to. It's a double-edged. It's a complicated matter, because on the one hand, there genuinely are reasons why women have less money than men most of the time. But at the same time,
But even these women you described, Bumi, the ones that basically were raised to do the chores and all that, they are not the ones that turn out to be asking the husband that why you're not driving a Mercedes. Those those type of women you are describing when their wives actually they will take $100
more than they should. Yeah, absolutely.
They'll take $100 and basically make it work like $1,000. That's
true. But that's also the woman that does not have breast hanging out, ass hanging out.
That's what I'm saying.
Walk themselves right into those problems.
The guy picked a liability in the first place. He would say no. He thought she was a mother figure. He's a lie. is a lie. He was.
You should not marry somebody you do not know, that you do not know their personality.
God left his educated head and went to his uneducated head, and he used that to make a decision.
And then he's crying afterwards.
A decision that should have been temporary. He went and signed a life contract to it. On top of that decision, I don't blame him. It is because the education is always one way only. One head is educated, but the other one is making decisions, life and death decisions.
I want to ask a question. Bumi, please, I want to ask a question. And I want Bumi and Kandi to answer it. If you have female children, girls, how are you going to train them, or what are you going to tell them about on this topic? Should they wait for love, or should they go out for love?
Well, my daughter, I've already raised my daughter, and she tells me all the time, I'm not ready for kids. I don't want to have kids. She's 26. I had kids when I was 24. And I don't push her because she's not in Nigeria. She's here. It's perfectly normal for a woman not to have children here. And she'll be okay if she doesn't have children here as well, because the society won't judge her as harshly, even if she doesn't marry. And she's not lonely. She has, family and all that. But if she was living in Nigeria, I might look at it differently because society is just way harsher.
You see what I mean now? If it's in Nigeria, should have thought differently. That's the pressure.
Oh yeah, but we're saying we're agreeing with you. We know
they'll say Bumi raised daughter, the daughter could not marry. No, serious. That's the kind of nonsense they will say. It's not just the
exactly. Thank you, Karen. They'll never see it as a personal choice for her, and I don't want to pressure her. That's what they will say.
They put me under pressure. When she goes to church, they'll be like, "So how's your daughter? Has she found husband now? We'll pray for her." You be like, I just came to sing hymns this morning. You've turned me into prayer point and my whole family.
It's absolutely true. And if I was in Nigeria, I would feel the pressure. Like, I can't take the nonsense. But I wouldn't want my daughter to take it. So I'll probably be different.
You will go for party. You go for party. When you are sitting on the table, they will now be like, so how's your daughter?
They'll be discussing.
When are we coming to celebrate? When are we coming to celebrate with you also for your daughter? Oh no, Abba Isheo.
Sorry, Bumi. Abby just mentioned to me. Bumi, Abby just sent me a message. She said she already tagged you. That is like you have to accept the tag on Facebook. Okay. Then before Agakayode too, everybody has been tagged. So I think Kandi. Wait, let me read that message. Yeah. No. Kandi was tagged. Yeah. So you have to accept it on Facebook. Right. So Kandi, before we move to Kandi, our how do I call it? Our poster and wholesome wife.
Going to butter off.
No, our poster virtuous and
oh my God.
I know that she has a lot of wise things to say, even though the others have said wise things. But I know that Kandi will come with something superior based on the way she runs her affairs and her society around her. Yeah, societal figure, we know. We see
oh my God.
So tell us what you think about. Sorry?
So I'm talking about, so we're talking about, first of all, let me just make sure I get the topic straight. We're talking about women not having their own money, or what? Like I'm not sure.
Okay, let me help you. Let me simplify it. We have on the one side a woman. Is she to wait for someone, a man or a woman? Let's make it general.
Yeah.
Are you to wait for somebody that you love, true love, before you get married, or do you settle with whoever is available for the marriage thing? What do you think about it?
It's funny. Maybe 2 or 3 hours ago, I would have said for love. But then I read Bumi's post earlier today. It really made me think. No, I'm serious. I really would. I probably would have said, wait for love. yeah, but after, she made a lot of really valid points in that, and maybe it's because I was just fortunate, and like Wumi was saying, my mom never put pressure on me because I wasn't there. And I mean, she was always telling me, "Oh, people are asking when is Kende gonna get married? When is Kende gonna get married?" And she always used to tell them that, you know what, when she finds the person. But maybe because I was in Nigeria, she was able to not be able to. She could take that pressure from them and not put it on me, because I wasn't there. So eventually, I feel I found love or whatever. But I think, like I said, after reading what Bumi said, what she wrote, I can really see why sometimes there's nothing wrong with settling. Sometimes we have to be practical, right? We have to be practical, and as long as, like she said, you find someone who's settling doesn't mean you settle for the guy who's going to be boxing your face or whatever. But if you find someone who's kind, responsible, taking care of his shit, then there's absolutely, and sometimes, you eventually you might grow to love the person,
You do.
You're managing him.
No.
You see,
You don't know what to tell him.
You could be genuine friends. And while there might not be that, fire, the fire love that we're supposed to be looking out for, there could be fondness, which can eventually lead to that, that's what I think anyways now. But yeah, so that's my view on it. But with the question Mr. H asked about how I'm raising my daughter, like Bumi said, I mean, I'm not gonna push her into anything. I'm not gonna have her rush into, I feel I'm gonna raise her. First, I'm gonna raise her to be independent, like I was raised to be independent. My mom, as long as I can remember, used to tell me, "You make sure you don't ever have to depend on a man." And that's what I'm gonna raise her to, so that she can always be, whether she's with someone or by herself, she can sustain herself. That's how I'm.
Please also remind her that she should not go and pick a man who will now depend on her.
Well, yes.
Because that's how you're not going to raise. There are some people, they raised one-sided. The daughter now became very independent. She now went and picked a liability.
Well, we don't want that either.
Because what Bumi is saying in that article, which I haven't read actually, but just from listening to it, right, and listening to what she said now, basically, when we're being practical, in reality, the person that you're in love with is not the perfect father. Is actually not a good father. He's a rascal. Right, but you love, the person excites you. He's the bad boy. I don't know why bad boys always get the good girls, but I think good girls, they're just excited that, oh my goodness.
No, that's actually what I want to talk about next. But finish your point. Why are women attracted to bad boys? I'll talk about it.
I'm happy you brought this up, Ogaka, and I'll tell you why. Every time on social media, especially now, the only thing is there is that men are scum. Scummers. Every minute, men are scum. But when you dig, okay, I'll give you an example. I was on one platform last week. So we're talking about this battle of the sexist thing. So this guy comes up, he tells us how he was a good boy from birth till he was 11. His friends were smoking, drinking, and chasing babes. He said he never did. He was a serious person. Then he continued like that. He was a virgin. Then he married. Now he's declaring himself as a poster guy who never cheats. That is a good husband material. He's married with kids. He has never cheated on his wife. Then all the women, flipping all the women on the platform. They started clapping and hailing, and that's a good guy. Keep it up. Don't cheat. God will bless you. This is how men are supposed to be. I was the only one who had the balls to raise my hand. I'm like, are you guys crazy? Do you know how many times guys like this guy met you in secondary school and the university? and you completely ignored him because you felt he wasn't interested. There was no excitement in him. He didn't look posh. He didn't look cool. It was too boring for your personality. Now, all of a sudden, because you have issues with your relationship, you are now looking for somebody like the exact guy you didn't want to have anything to do with. And this thing, I see it a lot of
This
times.
thing you're saying
I
is
see it a
triggering
lot
me.
of times.
I'm remembering the suffer that I suffered in the hands of women in school. It's me that they used to share the chocolates that guys brought with because I was
Yes,
always
now.
I was the friend that they in whose hands they cried. They just never saw me. You be there trying to talk.
We're
They'll be
friends,
laughing at me.
though.
Who would you like to be?
They'll be laughing at me. I'm serious. They'll be laughing at me. In fact, I'm triggered. I'm feeling very pained. The suffer that I suffered. I was the friend. I mean, they will talk detailed stuff about guys that they can't say in front of the guys because they just looked at me, babe. Who am I? You don't know who's trying to, you know.
They'll put you, and one of the worst things that can happen to a guy like that, especially good guys, is being boxed into a friend zone. Once they put you inside that friend zone.
My middle name should be friend zone. On top, how they take friend zone me for this life.
And once you are boxed into a friend zone, it will take something to bring you out of that box because that's it. You are sealed. You are done for.
Oh, let me. The funny thing is that somebody where I don't chase since, who is now single. I went back to the person. She's telling me she sees me as a brother. I'm not your brother.
Opposite direction.
She's still telling me at this stage that she sees me as a I hope she hears this show. Because I was a nice guy. She's telling me that the person that how can you be telling me I'm available? You are available. You are telling me that the person you are interested in is not available. No, I'm very triggered.
But
it's
you know what?
For those guys who are listening, if you want to get the girl, be a bad boy. Then when she's trying to fix you, you should fall in love.
Actually, I want to address this point.
Please address it. Address it.
It's a major issue.
I remember when what?
It's a major issue. It has to be addressed.
It's a painful issue.
When my daughter was in high school, she liked the jock. You know, you guys are familiar with that term. So Mr. H, the jock over here is usually the coolest guy in school, right? When you're in secondary
into sports.
Everybody wants to get this guy. Thank you. He's usually good in sports.
Hey,
hello. Rocks, he may be responsible, may be fucking every chick in the school, it may be violent, often they're rapist, but he's the jock, he's the one all the girls want. So I'm now watching my daughter in high school and I'm thinking, oh God. She got the jock and her, they were prom dates. And I could just see her going down that road. She actually dated him and then she dumped him and you know, she couldn't tell me what went down, but I knew what went down. And I sat her down and I had a conversation with her. About evolutionary biology.
The mother is not like this.
I don't know what happened to me. I don't have a romantic bone in my body. I'm practical to it. It's terrible. So I told somebody on my page today that look, if I start talking about romantic love, I'll fuck it up for all of you. Honestly, just. But let me talk about this evolutionary biology thing real quick. I think a lot of adults don't know, and they really should know what is going on with that shit. Women tend to find themselves attracted to bad boys for a reason. Because of evolutionary biology, which something in our DNA, an intelligence so deep, passed on from generation, tells us that the brave guy is the guy that we want to procreate with, because he's likely to be the one who can protect us and who can and the person who can protect you is also the person who can provide for you. So we are hardwired to notice bravery. And that's what bad boys represent, because bad boys are the guys people don't give a shit about the rules. I'm not supposed to smoke, I'll smoke anyway. I'm not supposed to do this, I'll do it anyway. Everybody's doing that, I'm not doing that. So we literally cannot help ourselves. We are immediately attracted to these guys because of biology, back in the day, in ancient times, hunter-gatherer times, that's the guy you want to be with. The guy who's brave as fuck, who can stand up to all the outside
invaders.
Exactly, right? And protect you and protect your children. That's the guy you have the better chance of having children who will survive with. And actually so hardwired in us. And it's the same thing with men. Like, it's hardwired in men to like beautiful women, not because they're beautiful, but beautiful women represent healthiness to us. And so in your DNA, after a millennia of fucking women and seeing which babies survive and which babies don't survive, it tends to be the babies of the healthy woman that survives. And there's a correlation between healthiness and attraction and beauty, right? So these hardwirings, though, they don't really matter anymore today, but they're still there. It's like society developed faster than biology could ever develop. So now we don't really need the brave guy anymore. Often the brave guy is an asshole who's going to end up in jail, you know? And the nerd is probably a better pick, or the geek is the better pick. Like people like Mark Zuckerberg or Bill Gates, those guys were never in a fight. Those guys didn't ever do anything wrong. These are guys who did what they were told their whole life, and they would be excellent providers. I'm not saying that they're the best guys to marry. I'm saying that the society we live in today, literally the opposite of what our DNA is telling us is what is best for us. So it takes such intelligence to navigate the dating scene. Unless you're a well-read person, intelligent person, or level-headed person, or like my daughter, you have a smart parents that can tell you, you won't even understand why you're attracted to these people that you're not supposed to be attracted to. You know,
after you tell them, do they still listen?
No, but it helps. It helps to know, and then at least you know that the thing that is doing you is not flesh and blood, right? You understand and you try to control it a little bit. But if you don't even know at all, that's when you start to believe shit like, "Oh, I'm just in love. I can't help who I'm attracted to. It's chemistry. It's blah blah blah. He's my soulmate." You don't understand how well we connect and all this fucking nonsense.
Wine and cigar now, because I need to be a bad boy. Let's see, don't go back.
But yes, the smart man is the man who knows how to use that to his advantage, but understands that, because there's some stupid guys too. Their badness gets them women, and they think that, you know, that's how you win in life. Maybe
but that's how it has worked for them.
Days, but not today. Today,
please, have you seen
jail, divorce?
Have you seen the Tinder Swindler on Netflix?
Why is everybody talking about that movie?
Well, guess what? It was sent to me by somebody in, let me see, I want to make sure nobody can figure out who the person is. By somebody in Nigeria who said it happened to her.
That's when women fall for, you see, money today looks like that bravery that I was talking about. It appeals to our DNA. This is a guy who can provide. Oh my God, look at him, he's so powerful. He has money. He can do anything he wants. All the other men have to bow to him. Yeah. Because he has money.
Sorry, I need to ask something. So a Nigerian woman gave a man her money.
Oh, no. First of all, no. In this case, it was worse than that. It wasn't just her money. She also basically introduced him to people he duped without her realizing. Yeah.
So I will say this: I know it happens. I understand it happens, and in fact, I recently kind of knew someone who met a guy.
Yeah.
Who, you know, was talking big and everything. She now gave him, one day she was with me and she made me talk to him, and the guy was so humble. Please note my sarcasm. Telling me, oh, he has installed this number of governors, or he worked on a certain person's presidential campaign. And I said, oh, really, you did? So do you know this person? And he said, who is that? And I was like, how could he have worked on that person's presidential campaign, but you don't know his media aide, who has been with him for over a decade? So, of course, red flags immediately. it turned out that nobody had anything positive to say about this guy. This was in November. December, so my friend traveled, comes back in January, she's engaged to the guy.
Exactly. And guess what? You stop being a friend very soon. Now you then go first.
Oh no. I already know I'm not. Because she actually said to me that she doesn't judge me, but I judged her because I asked her,
that
have you
guy's done a
spoken
number
to
on
your
her.
children?
I always knew Enuka was a judge, but I just couldn't prove it. I just could not prove it, but she looks like a judge.
You
Where's
really
your
don't like
cow?
you really
Where's
don't
your
like
cow?
you don't like
Part of
but
the
you
thing
know
is
it's
that-
very painful.
It
Yeah,
is.
no,
It's very
the guys-
painful to see it happen to someone.
the guys who cut off all the people who actually can help Bilki bring her head back so that he can enter her fully. And the person that he did this, the person that sent me this is very educated, though, is very highly placed. Right? Still, I'm like, how? I had to ask that the sex must have been very good.
Evolutionary biology. It's very
In
powerful.
fact, now that you say it, this is the second person that I know it has happened to. I lived in
Yes.
Abuja about a decade ago, and an acquaintance of mine started dating a man in her church. She worked in her church. Uncle was a married man. He'll call her and tell her, "Oh, I'm coming to your house. I want to eat amala." Well, Igbo girls, they don't make amala. She will leave her house, take a cab, go and buy him amala, bring the amala back to her house. He'll come to her house, eat the amala like a don, have sex with her, insult his wife, and then go back to his wife in her house, because she was the one who was working. This happened over a duration for a few years. She and I,
He said he will have
relationships
sex
with
with
her.
her. You saw me to say it the correct way. He gets something where she dey enjoy too there. He said he will have sex with her. He saw me to say the thing as his something.
Yeah, I think it's one-sided.
Yeah, exactly.
I know
That's something they make woman stand up, go buy amala from wherever it's coming from. If the guy is coming, please.
The most amazing thing is that guy,
like property,
that guy chopped up like 5 million naira in like 20
Yay!
years.
Jesus.
Wow.
Like
You chop 5 million naira amala.
5 million naira now. Oh,
Amala.
babe, loan me 100K here. Oh, babe, loan me one
Why
amount
don't
of
I
money.
meet women like this into your law? It's the ones that be
It
telling me
happened to my
I'm like
sister-in-law as well.
I'm like
It
a
happened to
brother.
my
reject it for you.
sister-in-law. And Mr. H, you will enjoy this one. You see, that my ex-sister-in-law, and this is another thing about women, that we fill our heads with all these what I deserve, and I'm a queen, and I'm a kiniko, and it's almost as though if you're being realistic, you don't love yourself, you know. So like if somebody comes along that sounds too good to be true, you will have friends saying, "Come on, girl, you deserve this. You're a queen." Blah, 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 blah. When it's so obvious that this shit.
Buy me a ring that is $10,000. I mean, what are we talking about here?
We just cannot be realistic sometimes. It's crazy, you know. Like not everybody's gonna marry Jay-Z, right? Just not that anybody should want to marry Jay-Z, but you know what I mean. Anyway, my sister-in-law was this type. She's an elitist. She thinks she's all that. She was just not realistic about, you know, her odds in the dating pool. So she was a perfect target for this scam artist from Nigeria. Listen, this thing, I was shook. This man is an old Nigerian man, like in his 60s at least, running scam on women. It was crazy.
He talks a good game.
Today that I'm impressed because I've seen scams. But this one old man, he managed to convince my ex-sister-in-law that he's some big shot politician in Nigeria, and because she felt that this was the kind of guy she deserved, she went along with it. You know, and she got all hoity-toity during that period, just looking down at the rest of us. And my ex and I were getting married then. And we're literally begging these people, her and her mom, please contribute to this wedding now. Like, you know, we don't have money like that. My father was the only one who had money. I barely had money. And they weren't putting a penny. And then she sat us down one day and she said, look, I didn't want to tell you, but we've lent this guy all this money. But she said it and these were her exact words. I'm so grateful that he needs my help, that I can prove the kind of person I'm going to be to him.
Where
He
did
gave
they
him
those kind
tens
women?
of
That's all
thousands
I'm
of
asking.
pounds. Kayode, all the money they had, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, all the money they had in this world, they gave to this guy. And then he turned around and he disappeared into thin air. Like, she went to his flat one day and he just.
Why are you stressing that the man was old? Have you forgotten that he was a young
It's not
man?
a young man's game. I was surprised.
He's
that
been doing it now.
something like
He's
that.
been doing it over the years. That's his stock in trade.
When actually, so
He
the
got
only
her good, and she was the perfect target. Because if it was somebody like me who's always very, very realistic about things, you would never get it verified. It's always these women who think, "Oh, why not? I deserve this. I deserve that." I'm not saying we shouldn't have high self-esteem and not a value. We should not have value, but we should not have value. Not, anyway.
It's a different thing.
I think this is what happened. Sorry, Ogakande. This is the reason why what happened last year happened between the manosphere and the other guys that like buttering up women. That's Derek Jackson and Kevin Samuels. This is exactly what happened last year. We had Derek Jackson for the most of the time preaching, "Oh, you're a queen. You should be chivalry. This, that." You are the idiot was cheating the whole time. Was busy cheating. And not just cheating, but cheating people that his wife even knows. And the ones that she doesn't even know. Then they caught him red-handed. Then he brings his wife to the screen and saying, "I'm going to work on myself." If you see the way they held themselves, I thought they were going to raise prayer points, fall down and die or something. I didn't even know that cheating, it was a cheating revelation. Meanwhile, the whole time, like almost 100% of the women were demonizing Kevin Samuels for telling them that, you know what, if you want something higher, you should come with something to the table. And that thing you are coming with, it's not money and it's not your qualification. It's your femininity and willing to be a wife. That's how you can hold on. So we have these two opposite views. At the end of the day, when Derek Jackson did what he did, I was like, oh my God.
That's interesting.
It's like, and the guy was always preaching every day. He was like, "You're a black queen. You don't need this, blah, 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 blah."
You know what some of us like to hear? And some of us like to be lied to. That's the problem.
That's what I'm going to. Women don't like people who are blunt. Like most women, I'm not saying all women, because Enuka likes people that are blunt. She doesn't like liars. But then I
that's why Enuka is not married yet.
I maybe can't.
Yeah. Tazeta, thank you. I will come for
you. We should put it on the side. Just be saying things like
I'm
tired of life, right?
It just means that your BS sensor is very high, so you sense it from afar. Once the guy says good morning, you're like, I know your good morning is not.
Have you met Enuka in person before?
I've seen her.
If you get her, then you know how many declines. Enuka gets standard though, high standard. She don't get time for nonsense. Once you start talking about the nonsense,
see, me, I didn't come to Lagos to count bridge. As the man is hustling, is how we are hustling. I don't want anyone to come and tell me, "Oh, I gave this to you." Me, I will give it to myself.
So
when I was very young, I won't even take a gift I can't afford for myself because I don't want to come and insult one.
The only problem there now is that the kind of man Enuka wants will be afraid to be with Enuka.
Yeah.
Why?
Because Enuka is.
Why are you burning my cable up and down now?
Let me explain. Because just from this teaching interaction, Enuka is the kind of person that basically has her own stuff. That intimidates half the men she will meet.
Exactly.
Then the other half, they are coming with BS. And the moment they start talking BS, she has sensed it already and shut them down. So those remaining few ones, they are also boring. The truthful ones, they're the ones that are always going for meeting after meeting. They are boring also.
I think she's more of a realist. So
they removed
more of a realist.
They removed another half of the remaining excitement. So there's just a very few there's a very few group left that are both exciting and very straightforward at the same time. That's why.
Well, I can't really argue. I can't really argue with it. But
Are
you really still looking for exciting?
Am I what?
Are you really looking for exciting?
I beg my sister. See, when I'm eating my dinner, I just want to sleep.
I was wondering, has anybody at this? I don't know how old you are, but exciting. Please miss me with exciting. I don't need exciting.
No, but I believe eventually. Sorry?
Only today I was saying to someone that I used to think I was a noisy person. I mean, I used to think in my head that even my music was loud. Until one day, my landlord lives across from me. He came to knock on the door and he said, I just wanted to make sure you were okay. I live alone. I never hear anything from your house. It's only if you put on the kitchen light, I know you're at home. Sometimes I'll leave my car and take a taxi. And then I realized I never speak over a certain tone. I don't shout at anybody.
You also don't make loud noises when you have male visitors.
Mm.
I rarely have visitors in my house, if.
I live with a 6-year-old, so I'm always shouting. I'm constantly shouting. I hate myself for it.
Unavoidable. We all think we're cool, so we have toddlers. That coolness would disappear.
I have a friend who told me that she thought she was patient until she had a particular child of hers. That child, she said, drives her up the wall.
Whoa.
And that she always thought she was a calm person, but that the Lord is testing her life with that child.
It's the same thing with me. I've always thought I was very, calm, laid back, but that's another topic for another day.
She wants to go home, and she said she didn't want to go home because she was afraid she would kill her son that day. She had to wait for her husband to get home first. What was the case?
I'm telling
But
you,
it takes a brave parent.
I almost put my daughter in a car park once. I mean, I went all ghetto. It was.
You almost
my
beat
daughter
her.
in the Macy's car park. She was 14 years old.
Wow.
She was testing me, black mother. I'm like, something just snapped in my head. If I let this child get away with this, she would be disgraced. She would never respect me. I forgot where I was. I just went in. By the time everything calmed down, I was like, look at you. All of you in the Macy's car park. Children will humble you. They will humble you.
They will.
They know the right buttons to push.
Absolutely.
No, they always try themselves. They're terrorists.
Let me read a few comments. Chukwu Emeka is watching right now. He says, keep up the work. I think he was referring to Abby because I'm checking the timeline. Abby was alone at the time. So then there's Ijoma Moye.
Some good ones, apart from her laughing at my hair. But she had something else.
She's actually my baby sister.
Oh really? I know. I can tell from the last name.
Last name.
It's Bumi's hair for me. I was dying when I saw that. Oh God. What am I gonna do?
He actually likes it. He's not laughing at it. He just likes it. Then
was she in staff school?
No.
Okay.
She didn't come to staff
school. Plenty, sure.
And there was Mr. H. That woman is a liability and has no business with hypergamy. It will be stupid to depend on a man as a woman just because you are married. Some men also love flashy women. True. Mr. K said that.
Yeah.
Then I.J. Omar said, men take off work to attend to their parents' funeral. Women take off work to care of their parents who okay, I think she repeated it correctly.
No, she made an excellent point.
Okay, men take off work to attend to their parents' burial. Women take off work to care
for their ill parents. This is what I was trying to tell Age before, that women and men have very different roles in society. So you cannot be that mad at us that we don't have as much as you and we depend on you a little bit, because you depend on us for all the jobs that they don't pay you for. Yeah. That's what Ijoma's point is.
Yeah,
that's true.
Timinu Sivasoke says, "Hi, Jamoke. I also know who this is." And in the relationship between man and a woman, love is important and key. It's advisable not just to take the available to avoid regret.
Well, we're not
Yeah,
saying
but
take the
love
just take
is
the available.
but love is not just enough because at the end of the day, love does not know respect, love does not know loyalty,
See,
love does not
I
What is
don't see. That's where I
what is love?
disagree with you, Ron.
That
I think love. I think that is all part. How can you love someone and not respect them, not be loyal? Like I don't. It makes no sense to me when you say love doesn't know loyalty, respect. To me, how can you say you love someone and those qualities are not there? That's not love.
the
If
thing
those
there is
qualities
that
are not
the
there.
thing is that how people
it's
define
gonna
love
see
is
people
actually
madly in
different
love,
for each individual. There's people that
disrespecting
use the
themselves.
same word to define different feelings. Some people are in lust. Some people are in they just like
Yes,
the bad.
that's what I was
They, they,
going
they,
to.
they like they
Well,
like
that's
they
what I'm.
like the bad guys.
That's
But
where I was
everybody's
going
calling it
to.
love.
But that's what I'm
It's not
saying.
love.
People might call it love, but love, if you're actually looking at love is all of these things. Like if you really get down to it, well, that's what I
And
think. I
for
I
some
think
All
people,
I
love
can
is
say
all
is
of these
that
things.
very
Like I
subjective.
feel like I can't.
all I can say is that love is intentional. It's not automatic. That's
I
all I can
agree.
say. You
All
have to
different
love. It's
definitions,
intentional. It's an
all different
action word.
definitions of the word love.
Yeah.
Totally,
No, I'm
totally.
just saying. You can get married to somebody who irritates you, right? But if you decide to love the person, it will overpower those
Right, right.
what do you call it?
No, the people that I love that are irritating are still irritating. It's just that I try
No,
and
I'm
overlook
saying
it.
But
no.
that's like,
But
you're right. You
you can
overlook it. You
tolerate
put up with
now.
it.
Now tolerate
You
and
put
they
up
tolerate
with it.
them. I don't like them. I still want
Yeah.
that irritable behavior to change. It's just that there's
You know
not much
that
you can do about the person that you have loved.
You know that I've always preached that you only need three things in marriage. I keep saying it every time: loyalty, duty, respect. With just these three ingredients, you are fine. The love. Okay, look at Big Brother. You bring 16 total strangers to a house. They don't know themselves before. Then all of a sudden, after 3 weeks, they start doing the eviction. You start seeing this one crying and hugging the other one. Oh, they are evicting someone. Oh, I love that. It sounds funny, but truly, love. Okay, it's like Oga Kayode, when we were passing out of military school. Notice when you're marching out of that parade ground, that hell home that you suffered, you sweated, you bled, you did everything. You see yourself crying when you're taking the last salute out of the school, and that's a military school that was abusing and terrifying and traumatizing you the entire 6 years. Then all of a sudden you're leaving. You form this bond with everybody that even years to come you're still tight. So that's why I believe
That called
that
this
it's
Stockholm syndrome or
intentional.
something.
They said Stockholm syndrome. Bumi and Candy said it's Stockholm syndrome. I remember. Yes.
Stockholm
So
syndrome.
So when you stay with somebody, a stranger, long enough, you don't even need to like the person. You might just be a roommate. If you're together, you don't even need to touch each other. You might be together for a whole year, 2 years. Over time, a bond is formed. Now in marriage, you can take that bond further. You can be intentional. You say, you know what? I know this guy is crazy. This guy is silly, but I'm still going to love him. Do you understand? It's intentional.
You can act
I
in a movie.
agree, but not completely.
You can act in a
And
movie
here's
and fall in
why.
love.
Some people are diabolical. I mean, I agree. I agree that a lot of times women are guilty of this. That they'll meet a guy, he's not cool enough, he's not fun enough, and they write him off. But you're right. If they got to know him over time,
Yes.
they will see another. We cannot make judgments just by what we see, which we often try to do. You meet a guy at a club, but they just introduce you, and you immediately decide, I don't want this one. It's usually based on superficial things. You're right. Once you live with someone or you get to know them better, you easily. It's happened to me a million times in my life. You discover that, oh my God, I never thought I would like this person in a million years, but actually, I absolutely adore them. I love everything
Yeah.
about them. But the converse is also true, Ron,
Mm-hmm.
which is that you can meet someone, think that they're great, and you would like them romantically or not, and they turn out to be complete assholes, and you can't stand them. That does happen, and it also happens amongst married couples. There are a lot of people who will hide their worst impulses or make sure that you only get to see them at their best moments. A perfect example of this is sugaring or Ron's girl. And I always tell girls who are doing this to be careful, because they end up struggling to bond in normal relationships afterwards, because these are very artificially created environments where two people only ever see each other at their best. You know, the sugar daddy and the Ron's girl, or the mistress, and even the other way around.
The sugar baby.
You prepare, yeah. Sometimes
the cougar and the Ben 10.
It's almost scripted. You're there, you've made pineapple, you're saying all the right things, you're always looking good, you smell good. Him too. You're thinking, he's such a great guy, he's so generous, he's so patient. He ain't like that at home. Like, you need to see him in every situation. That's why some people will tell you that if you want to know the truth about someone, travel with them or get caught in the rain with them. See how they react in a very stressful situation, because some people really know how to hide their true personality in certain, situations. This is another reason why I don't really agree with the way Christians marry, where they never live together, where they never have sex together. Where it's just you and your pastor in this controlled environment.
Jesus is Lord.
No, Bumi, I agree with you, because Mike and I, when we moved in, I think we moved in together probably maybe like 6 months after we started dating. And it was actually a financial decision when we decided to move in, because both of us didn't have a lot of money. We were both paying rent. His roommate was upset I was there a lot, I think, even though he said I was there a lot, but Mike spent more time in my place. I didn't want to renew the lease. My lease was coming up. So Mike was like, move in with me. We'll split, And then we're like, and when his lease expires, if shit didn't work out, we go our separate ways. And that's exactly what we did.
That's great. I think that's a better way to know someone.
Yeah. You people were loud. You're living. That's why the roommate did not like this thing. You were loud.
We were not. See, that's the thing, though. Mike is like one of the most laid back people you
One of you was loud, Candy.
When you met him,
that's skipping the gist.
So let's just blame Candy. Let's just blame Candy.
No. Candy is still.
Let's take the matter to where it is.
It's still okay, my book.
Actually, I have a question, right? So I actually also see to be straightforward. I have a problem also with Christian dating and Christian marrying right now. But now I have this question. You have daughters. Are you going to tell them, look, go and test drive this thing before you sign the contract?
Yes.
Actually, I will encourage my daughter that she needs to. I mean, I'm not going to encourage my daughter to be promiscuous, but I'm going to encourage her to have fun. I'm sorry. Go out, have fun.
I encourage my daughter to learn to masturbate.
Don't jump.
I'm going to encourage my daughter to
comes along.
Before she
Explore.
marries.
And you know what? If she comes to tell, just like when I told my mom I was moving in with Mike, my mom was like, "It's your life, it's your decision. I'm not going to stop you." Like, if she feels she's found the guy that she wants to move in with, hey, go for it.
You all run away from
things
Nigeria.
Don't work out.
Because if you're in Nigeria, you will not be saying these things you are saying.
Well, obviously, Nigeria is a whole totally different thing.
She has spoiled finish.
Yeah, the society is different.
And don't forget, in Nigeria, most girls go straight from their dad's house to their husband's house.
Yeah.
Whereas in the West, women are more independent. They tend to live alone for a while. You never know what they're doing half the time. So how are you gonna be,
I used to say, as a teenager, I won't go from prison to prison. And my dad would laugh at me. I literally meant I won't go from his house
to my husband's house. It's terrible. It's terrible. Those are the women that lose themselves.
Enuka, would you tell your daughters to test drive? You are in Nigeria.
Yes. Have you ever bought a car without testing the engine?
No, so while I understand that, I
Oh,
also
you have,
understand
yeah?
the concept.
Oh, you have.
What I understand the concept. That's why I'm
The
asking
apostle
you.
not doing same. What did you say?
Jesus is Lord.
This one is first.
I understand the culture in Nigeria is also why I'm asking you. It's easy for Bumi and Kani to say what they really feel. You
It's
understand?
not that
Because-
easy. I mean, I'm still
No, it's not,
Nigerian,
because
and I still have
people
to
are gonna-
exist
people-
in
No,
our
it's easier
society.
because now you how many Saturday weekend parties have you gone to that all the people that that you grew up with are in the party, and then you now go and say they must test drive.
True, but if my daughter fucks up, if she gets pregnant out of wedlock or something, like that, everybody in my community is still gonna hear in Nigeria. It's still gonna be an embarrassment. She can still do things to embarrass the family.
Yeah.
You understand? So it's not like I'm completely removed from it.
Yeah.
And not to be flippant, it's not like it's also not that I don't care about anything at all when it comes to, like when my daughter was 15, I could tell that she was about to have sex. And I tried to bribe her to delay it.
15.
Yeah. She really liked this guy.
Now that kind of question. See, as Edgar say, at 15. Hey.
Hold on.
No. I had sex.
I don't preach abstinence.
Shy of my 16th birthday.
I mean, when
I don't preach
when I was in
abstinence,
high
but I
school,
will
people
tell you
were
that
doing
you-
it already.
you know
I mean,
Yeah, exactly. It's just
not
that
like-
by that time I'm an adult, and I felt like teenage girls having sex, it's not a moral issue for me. I discourage it, but it's not out of morality.
yeah, me too.
Because I don't think that they're mature enough to deal with it.
That's
I
what
don't
I was
think
gonna
that they
say, the
can handle
emotional maturity.
emotions. Exactly, Candy. I think the emotions
emotional
are
maturity.
distracting. They tend to fall in love. They forget about their goals and passing these SATs and all this nonsense. They're more susceptible to heartbreak and the depression that comes with that. In these days of social media, they're more susceptible to being slut shamed and things going wrong with some guy. I was with him. I thought he loved me. Now he's with somebody else. It's a minefield for them, and they're unlikely to enjoy it. These fucking pimple-faced 15-year-old boys don't know what the fuck
They don't know what they're doing.
There's just like there's no good reason for a teenage girl to have sex. But morality has nothing to do with it. And so I explained all of these things to my daughter in detail. I broke it down, the serotonin, the dopamine. I made it as technical as possible. This is not, some moral crusade. Because the next thing she's gonna think is, oh, everyone's doing it, or mom, you're behind the times, or you just don't know what's going on. I met her where she was, but when I felt like she was still about to do it, I bribed her with a MacBook. I told her if she just delayed it, I'll buy her a MacBook, and she agreed. But yeah, so but it wasn't for moral reasons. It was because I felt like it might compromise her in some way.
Yeah, so, and that's what I always say. Like I remember writing something similar when people were discussing all the time on Facebook. I'm going to try to explain to her why it's not a good idea. Not because it's a moral thing, like whatever. I mean, teenagers, they start experiencing these sexual feelings and don't know how to. But for us to just say, "Oh no, sex is bad," I'm going to drive them in the opposite direction. So I'm going to try to tell her why it's not a good idea, the consequences, things that could happen, that kind of thing.
Yes,
but on the flip side, also, if that's a good idea, Bumi, bribing. So if a bribe, and if I can't bribe her though, if I see that it's not working, I'm sorry, I'm gonna take her.
Support her. Yeah, I took her to the OBGYN and put her on birth control. Yeah, I did. And I encouraged her to masturbate. I told her learn to bring yourself to orgasm. It will delay you needing to have sex with guys, and it will. That we don't talk about that one enough. A lot of times when guys are like, oh, women like to lie to themselves, women like to lie to themselves. People do not understand how much that has something to do with it. Because women have sex, girls especially, not even women. Girls have sex and nothing happens. And they can't explain it. And they think it's just them. And so they start to up the excitement ante. They know this nigga's lying, but he excites them. So they go there. And that was another reason why I encouraged my daughter to learn to masturbate.
I want to hear Mr. H when you finish, Bumi, because he has 2 daughters and he's conservative.
Yeah, I would,
He switched off by the look on his
I
face.
would tell my daughters to when a man is speaking to you, or probably a woman is speaking to you, and probably you want to really know the depth of their genuinity, you need to listen carefully and read between the lines. Because basically when I'm talking to a lady, or probably I want to date a lady, and I actually listen to her when we talk. I want to hear exactly what she's talking about. If I'm with a lady and that she's not talking about, what we're going to do in future, there's some things you will tell me about that I'll not know. You are here to play, and there's some things you will say that I'll know. Oh, this one has something upstairs. It to go both ways, the man and the woman. Because me, I would tell my daughters, no, if you want to be in a relationship with a man, and maybe you think you want to end up with this man, don't ever think he's perfect. There's it's not such thing as perfectness. And if you're ready, if you want to be with a man, don't think he's going to provide everything, maybe the Gucci and everything. You should be able for you to provide for yourself as well. Because the day he is not there and you're married to him, you should be able to stand up for yourself and for your kids as well. Because it doesn't rain forever,
Mr.
And
H, you asked specifically about sex.
yeah, it doesn't. And when you are talking about when you are talking about sex now, it's you can't really stop people from your kids from having sex, because if you talk them out, they will still go back and go and do it. So the most important thing is for you to sit down with them face to face and teach them sex education and how to go about it in a safe manner and a just manner. That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, I would tell them, but I would tell them, you see that, because most of us, even when we're in Nigeria, they tell you don't do this. But if you actually sit down and tell the person, if you are going to do it, this is what you need to do. This is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do to save us a lot of problem, a lot of diseases, a lot of unwanted pregnancy.
But we don't want to talk about it. I mean, I've said stuff like what Mr. H has said. They said I'm going to be encouraging my child to be promiscuous. I'm like,
yes,
yes. Like, you're encouraging promiscuity. Look at what the world has become.
Nigeria is full of vagina
vigilantes. The side of it is that those people who are not encouraging theirs to be promiscuous are the ones that will be hiding unwanted pregnancy.
Exactly. Because they don't teach their kids.
When's your daughter? She went to
the pastors' kids that go, they go off to college, they get wild, and they're the ones who are the. I have a friend. When we were growing up, my parents used to let on my brothers. We were getting a little bit of freedom. Every as we're getting older, a little bit, they let us, even then, we'll go outside, ride our bikes, we'll go down the next street or whatever. And we have these kids where, oh my God, their parents were so fucking strict. I mean, they didn't let these kids do anything. I mean, nothing. And the girl, she got pregnant when she was 16.
That's it. That's what happened to me. My parents were ridiculous.
Used to sneak out. They didn't let her do anything. When you do those kind of things, especially to teenagers, you see your friends going out. That's when they're gonna sneak behind you, and they don't know anything because you're not letting them get any experiences.
Exactly.
And that's when shit like this happens.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of what happened to me. I had experience, but I had this best friend, and her mom, her parents used to let her go to the normal parties that teenagers were having. But my dad was so extra, he would never let me go to these parties. And then he would look down on this girl, but she was actually a goody two-shoes. Her parents just were a bit more, I think they understood something my dad didn't understand. I don't know what the fuck it was. But yeah, she got to go to all these parties. But by the time I got married, a fucking virgin. She was my best friend when I was 12 to 14 or something. But when she got married, she was actually a virgin. Whereas me, I was skipping out the house and going to fuck my boyfriend. But my parents thought that she was the bad one, Because if you lock your child at home, what is she supposed to do?
Exactly.
Those are the ones that the house boy, the driver, your step-uncle, you know, I mean, that's the reality of it. When your teenage hormones are going crazy and you decide to imprison the child thinking that somehow is going to curtail it, no, they're going to unless you can watch that child physically 24/7.
24/7, and
find a way.
It's not impossible.
Find a way, and it would be worse than if you didn't let them do what their age group is doing. But
so you see, like a patient told me something the other day. She said, because I have a lot of older patients, and she was telling me something about when she was raising her daughters, and I was talking about how sometimes I worry about raising my children. All the craziness sometimes in this world, and I was like, one of the things I always want is that my children can come to me for anything. Like I'm not. And she told me that one of the things she did with her daughters was like she let them go hang out, go to parties. But she told them that if you are ever in trouble, you can call me. You don't have to tell me what it is. Call me. I'll come get you. And it happened to her daughter once. And she did. She went and picked her up. She didn't ask her what happened. She just made sure her daughter was okay. And it was her daughter herself who came later on to tell her what happened. And it really, it totally blew my mind. I was like, I'm going to remember this. And, just to make sure.
I can tell you stories for days. I'm sorry. I was the cool mom. And as the cool mom, you don't want to know the fucking stories I heard. These girls that didn't go to their own mothers that came to me about pregnancy, about drunkenness, about arrest, about all kinds of things that their parents didn't know about. And I used to think to myself, oh my God, I would hate it if my child was going through this and she couldn't come to me. And this is in America. So I can't even imagine what Nigerian children, especially the ones here who try to bring them up to the standard, to Nigerian standard.
You know what the Nigerian kids handled on their own.
Okay. I want to chime in. I never knew I'll be alive to witness a time where we are encouraging sinful practices. So sinful that I don't even know I'm among sinners. Oh my goodness. So wait now.
Ron,
I'm going to my 2 daughters. Wait,
Ron, were you a virgin?
That's what happened to me, I'm telling you. I was not now, but I didn't know the Lord that time. That time was a very simple time.
So my child did not know the Lord.
I didn't know the Lord that time. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to download photos of the worst physical looking STDs available on the internet. I'll download 100 of them. Staphylococcus, everything, especially the ones that I'm coming, especially the ones that affect females. So I'll download everything, then I'll do a presentation slide. So you guys sit down here. Daddy, what is this for? Just pay attention. Can you see what happens to this? Can you see? Shh, no questions. Don't just be watching. By the time we're done, I'll just say, this is why you're not supposed to. Class dismissed. I think we've had a very fruitful discussion. I didn't tell them.
No, they tried that show with us in Catholic school. They showed us videos of abortion. People who are gonna fuck.
I'll even show a video of somebody going to the abortion clinic, then coming out dead. So that I'll do the worst things. I'll show you the worst things.
It won't matter. I'm telling you, it won't matter. Never bet.
That's the way I'm saying, don't do it. When you finish watching it, then you come back to
tell them the truth. Tell them the reality of it. You know what I used to. You know what? One thing I coined, and I was so proud of myself. I used to put it this way because I also didn't want to fuck up girls, because this is another big thing. I'm so glad I remember this. This is another big thing in Nigeria that I hate. Our mothers, they don't have the vocabulary to warn us properly, so they just terrify us. They'll just put the fear of God into us. And then what tends to happen is that when we grow up, we have issues around sex. We can't relax. Deep down at the core of our mind, we're filled with dread at the thought of it. Because
until now, actually, even when married,
we don't find a way to explain something very basic to us, which is that even though sex is good, it's bad for you at certain ages. And I remember I used to tell my kids, there's nothing wrong with eating pork chops. Pork chops are delicious, right? Or a steak. But you wouldn't feed it to a baby. And I tried to explain to them that that's what sex is like. The sex is not, you have to stay away from this thing, not because it's bad, but but because like a baby doesn't have the teeth to chew a steak or the digestive system to process it, it's not ready for it, and you're just not ready for it. And we don't often make that distinction in Nigeria. We just want to scare them away. If you do this, you ruin your reputation. If you do this, nobody will marry you. If you do this, you disgrace the family. You disgrace your family. If you do this, I will kill you.
Yeah.
If you do this, and if they do, they will beat the shit out of them. We heard horror stories in Finn. Remember, Candy? Mothers putting pepper in their daughter's vagina because they went out with a boy in the neighborhood and all this fucking extreme
Jesus is Lord.
behavior. I'm
Yeah,
not
this-
lying, Candy.
Yeah, I just want to say something. I just want to say something. What I've discovered about we Nigerians, we need to be straightforward with ourselves. Those people that were generally, even including me, then we are a group of hypocrites. At the end of the day, they tell you all these things. At the end of the day, you find somebody having 12, 13, 16 children. And again, the thing is that, it's when I traveled
That's
out of
the thing,
Nigeria.
though.
It's when I traveled out of Nigeria, then I began to realize that something they were telling us there, that they were telling us not to do. They should have sat us down, like as Ron said, as Bumi has said, as Candy has said, and Enuka has said. Look, this is it. If you talk to adults, okay, you are 18 or you're 16, if this is it, this is the consequences. People will understand. But when you tell them not to do, they will go and experiment.
Exactly. And teenagers, is that thing?
It took me a long time before I knew they had been lying to me. See, it's just now that my senses came to be. But chai, I'm the only one who was doing good boy when everybody was basically. I did not get it for a long time.
Magic.
Ajebota.
You know this thing you're saying?
Mr. H, how old are your daughters?
They're 8 months.
8 months.
Are they twins?
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Oh, I love twins.
You have some time on your hands. I mean, before you have to train these things. Ron, do you have any daughter?
Yes.
How do you have daughters?
How many?
That's why he's so extra. Man. We are the catcher. He knows all the things he's done.
I feel sorry
Thank
for
you.
man.
Thank
Oh, that's why
you.
he's not saying. That's why he's saying that I was not born again then, so that God.
I'm monitoring the people that say
Lord, I would not have done it to other people's daughters if I knew you. But now that I know you,
No. Ron was a good boy. He was a good boy. Please, I can vouch for him. He was a good boy.
Enuka,
He was a good boy.
you know, follow
I
the
can vouch
guy
for
go
him.
military school. You know what he do there.
He was a teenager. I could have done anything now.
No, not he would have. He did a lot of things. People used to sneak out.
See, I went to a day
that
school
was your
and I used to
orientation.
steal pens. I went to a day school and I did all sorts of things. The only thing I didn't do was, look at me being shocked that a 15-year-old is considering sex because it never crossed my mind.
It didn't cross your mind, Enuka.
Me. When I say it didn't cross my mind, as in nothing.
I feel so
I
sorry
didn't
for you.
like
Where
a
were
boy.
you were living under a rock?
No, I was in Lagos growing up.
You're
just wasn't-
definitely one of those protected
What the
kids,
heck?
actually.
No,
No, Enuka's not loved us so much.
It was my friend Ikoria in elementary school that first brought a nude. What do they call that magazine?
Playboy, Penthouse, Playboy or Penthouse.
He was. I remember it was primary 6. He brought his uncle's Playboy to school that day. You know, so that is way back then. My parents thought they sent a 10-year-old, or 11-year-old to school. 10. I don't look Playboy finished before I came home.
If you don't teach your child, somebody outside will teach your child.
That's why I'm
So
wondering
that's why I don't.
how did you get to 15 in Nigeria, and what kind of you were not
Look,
associated
I was. So let me tell you something. I have a great dad. My father is the sort of person who will talk to you. And I will tell you that his wife is the exact opposite. My mom was the sort who will tell you, if you like, go and let a man see your pants. But my dad was the exact opposite. My dad was a trained teacher. He's the sort of person who would speak to you. Now, this is not to disrespect my mom. It was her own upbringing. My dad had evolved from whatever he was taught. Now, I respect. Let me tell you. Let me give you an example. My sister said she was going to camp, NYSC camp, just after university. And my mom called her and said to her, you know when you get there, any boy that talks to you, just open your dress, you hear? You hear? And my sister was shocked. She didn't understand where the mom She didn't understand.
On the
Now
sarcasm.
listen to that message. Oh.
That's
My
how she
dad now
that's
calls
my
her. My dad now calls same person and says to her, you know, it's only natural that when a man and a woman are together in an enclosed space, sexual feelings grow. That you know that if you want to avoid it, don't let yourself be in an enclosed place with a man so as to avoid certain things happening. Same message, but you see the two different angles.
Yeah.
Now, I would never teach abstinence. It's not my thing. I have a 16-year-old niece. She's we're 5 and 6, my person. I talk to her every weekend. She doesn't live in the country with me. We're always talking to each other. One day, I think she was 13 or 14. She lives in Europe, and some of her classmates came to her. They found it weird that, you know, this girl doesn't have a boyfriend, is not interested in boys. And she called me and she says, oh, Auntie, that they're always asking me why. No, that they came to ask me if I have a boyfriend or a girlfriend. And I kept a straight face. I always listen to her, straight face. And she said, I told them that I have a boyfriend, and his name is Jesus. His name is Master Jesus. The girl is so silly. But you know, she started telling me about how she thinks she needs to be focused on her school books, that there are more important things for her to do. But you see, that is because we have a conversation. Now, a few weeks ago, her mother and my sister was telling me that they were having a conversation, and next thing my niece said, well, if he asked me to go out on a date with him, I'll go. That she kept a straight face. The girl didn't continue. But my sister called me and was like, hey, come and hear gist. I never repeated it to her. I didn't ask my niece anything. But I like the fact that she's at a certain stage where she can even think about it. She's 16. I'm not against it. I will never tell a child, Enuka, would never tell someone, don't have sex. I'll teach you about everything.
Exactly.
Teach you about the STDs, like Ron has said, but I will not scare you. I will tell you the damn truth.
Facts.
You know, you can't convince me that the girls that got pregnant were the bad girls.
No, they were the good girls.
I actually believe that the girls that got pregnant were the clueless girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
The clueless good girls.
That's it right there.
Nobody can tell me.
It's the naive
that
ones.
Naive.
Thank
Those
you.
that get caught.
Yes, the naive ones. I remember in, I think, 98, my cousin, beautiful girl, got pregnant. Young girl. She was, 15 or 16? And I remember going to visit her one day, and I said to her, come with me, I want to go and buy a drink. I was in university, year 1 or year 2. And she said, oh, she didn't want to go because people were looking at her. And I told her, they look at you, look back at them. All rubbish. Yes, she was a child, she got pregnant, she made a mistake. Then you're looking at her, judging her. Who died and made you judge?
Yeah. That's Nigerian culture.
Who died and made you judge? And guess what? My girl just graduated with an MSc. She's very hardworking. In fact, she's one of the most hardworking women that I know. I had to send her a message on the day of her convocation to tell her that I'm very proud of the woman she has become. She has earnestly chased her education. She works hard.
Because that's the first thing they'll tell her that, you will not finish school. You end up in McDonald's.
She's worked hard. She's married. She's a very put together human being. Yes, she had a hiccup in life. How many of us can come out now and say we've not had hiccups?
Right.
Exactly.
Why are we so quick? Why are we so quick to judge people? You know, in all this, as much as Ron was saying that and he was joking, I remember having a conversation with my dad. I'm quite close to my dad. And my dad said to me that you don't seem to understand, Enuka, that for an Igbo girl, for an Igbo child, I have given my children a lot of freedom to make their own mistakes.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they'll learn. And he always tells me that I should always feel empathy for people who cannot stand up to their parents.
Mm-hmm.
I remember my dad calling me one day to tell me I should do something, and I said to him, okay, what's this? Don't. I will not do it. I was riding to work with a colleague of mine, an older Yoruba man. When he realized it was my dad, he gave me grief and made me call my dad back. So I called my dad back and I said, Daddy, sorry, I hear I was being rude to you. He said, when? I said, when I said this. He now said, no. You were saying what was on your mind and you shared it. You shouldn't keep quiet. You should be able to talk. And I looked at my colleague. I said, sorry, I forgot it was a Yoruba man that was talking to me. And I was looking at my colleague. But I have that relationship with my dad where I can say it as it is. I'm in my 40s. My dad is 85. I can still talk to my dad till today about
Same here
almost
with my
anything.
parents.
It is so essential. I do not believe in putting, how will I put it, a wrapper on the problem. No, let's talk.
I just wanted to chime in the other one you spoke about your niece. I see your cousin. So in as
Yes, sir.
much as people are
Let's go pick
prone
Lincoln,
or
then we
like
can come back to the book fair, okay?
can you hear me?
We gotta pick
Can
Lincoln
you
up.
Yes, I can hear you.
Now, in as much as society
They say we
is
can't
prone
come in.
to
Oh,
see
hi, where have you been?
somebody
Okay,
one of
everything all
the
right? Okay.
Are you mute, Candy?
yeah. So one of the panelists that used to be here when we had a heated argument said something that gossip and shaming is a mechanism society uses to keep
Guilt
people
and
in
shame.
check. Guilt and shame. A mechanism society uses to keep the society in check. Now, if a child who has no business having kids as a kid, the fact that she's a kid, allow her to go through it. It's a life process. You cannot shield her from it. Why? In as much as the person is close to us, blood relative, or very dear, it could be my daughter, it could be anybody's daughter. The truth still remains is that it's not the standard we want to be happening around us, right? And we don't want to give any subtle encouragement so that other
Of
people
course.
misunderstand the message. I get where you're coming from. They are trying to cheer her up and inspire her not to let the downfall weigh her beyond what it is, of which she overcame it and became something better than was expected from the society. It's good, but I'm also an advocate that if somebody, like you see, I've started now and I learned it from my mom. If somebody does bad, like when we're growing up, you do something bad, and you come to my house and tell my mom is not going to say, no, my child does not do it. She will call her, will call you. Did you do it? She will confront you. Did you do it? Yes or no? There's no in between answer. If you claim yes, there and then she will treat your madness on the spot. She never shielded us from accountability. She always believed that every child must be accountable and you must face whatever consequence you bring upon yourself in
Of
order
course.
for you to learn and not repeat it. And to some extent, even my wife doesn't get me. My wife thinks I'm always scared about bad things happening. She doesn't understand that I learn from other people's mistakes. I don't wait for the thing to happen. When I see something coming, hey, I'll start raising alarm. I beg you, don't let this downfall come and jam us. Let's move, let's shift. You know that kind of thing. Because I've seen people who stood on the highway and therefore jammed them. So for that reason, I'm not going to use myself as a specimen for that to happen to me. This does not mean I'm perfect. It's just being careful. Like I had friends who did a lot of horrible things, terrible things that I could have done. I just picked the ones that I knew I could manage. Like all those small bad things that young guys did. I picked some of them like sleeping around. I didn't play with condom throughout my young man days. I'd never joked about it one day. Why? Because I knew there was a consequence for forgetting this. So what did I do? I made a conscious decision not to smoke weed and not to drink. These are the two major excuses people usually give that I been there high, I don't know say I no wear condom. Oh, if I was alert, I wouldn't have. To me, they are all excuses.
But
If
you
you knew
smoke
you didn't want
cigarette.
to call it that. Sorry?
Did you smoke cigar instead?
In secondary school, I attempted it. But later, I actually drank in secondary school.
What's
It
wrong
was when
with
I
you?
left secondary
Those are
school.
excuses, Sha, because I
Yeah,
used to
what's wrong with you?
put load
Yeah,
of
what's wrong
weed and never had anything to do with whether I wore a condom or not, but I will allow it.
No.
We're going to
You get
send
where I'm
you.
going with this.
We are
People
going to
want
send you a
to
song.
blame their indiscretions on external influences. I chose not to blame anybody, anything. If I do anything bad now, I am responsible for my bad. I was conscious when I was committing evil. That's what I'm trying to point out here. I'm not going to blame or give excuses.
Do you agree that we should train our children to be responsible for their actions?
Yes.
Rather than to say, but don't do it. Oh, if you do it, it's a sin.
That's why I'm going to get the presentation. I hold a cane on my right hand and I'll be doing the PowerPoint. I just say, "Pa, can you see this one? The private part has been damaged. This looks cancerous. Look at it. No, that is ugly. No, just watch it. Watch it. This is a human being like you." So by the time you watch 100 traumatic STD pictures, then by the time I finish, I just say, this is all I have to say. Oh. It's up to you. Oh. This is what can happen. Bye bye. Class is peace. Then I'll go away. I'm not going to tell you don't do or do. Your brain will be able to control you. I'm not going to say anything beyond that. It's that simple.
So let me tell you. Let me tell you what I did with my own son. I basically told him that, look, so the older one, right, that one like women from childhood. So if you see someone like Auntie Enuka now, when he was a teenager, you go and hug her and make sure that his hand mistakenly touch her bum bum. You know, so they came and
why is it me? Is Bumi not here?
No, Bumi is not his.
Bumi don't get bum bum, so
Bumi is not. Bumi, when my son was a teenager, Bumi was not his spec. It is someone like Auntie Enuka. He did not. He knew. He saw the aunties that looked like Bumi. He didn't go and hug them to greet them. It was the aunties that he met in church that he was always going to go and greet. Like he said, when I now confronted him, he said, "No, he was just greeting them." I said, "Why is it only?" Why is it only the Auntie Lucas that you are greeting that your hand is mistakenly hitting there?
You know why I believe you? You know why I believe you? When I was in my former church, the pastor's son, 3 years old, I've never seen that child walk from when he was 3 to 4 years old. All these choir girls, if you don't have boobs, he's not going to allow you carry it.
Yeah, no, a boy knows what he likes. No, that's true. Me, the reason why I could not deny, first of all, I was not really upset with my son because he was exhibiting behaviors I knew that I could never tell anybody when I was younger. Yeah, from the time I was a kid, actually, in elementary school, it was the rounded woman that always appealed to me, right? That was then. So when they were telling me that my son was doing this, I was just like, hey, wait, let me talk to him. Because honestly speaking, I could not be upset. I knew that it was an innate thing. But one thing I taught him actually was that, look, understand that if you decide that you are going to do this thing, that make sure that you use a condom, and this is how to use it. That your best option is to abstain completely. But if you choose to do it, that it should not now be something that the next 18 years you'll be paying for.
You didn't talk to him about jerking off. Isn't that the first thing teenagers?
I actually didn't. I did not. I just told him that I told him that, look, that if you decide to do this thing, this is how to use a condom. Here's a banana. Here's how you wet. But that your best option is to abstain. But if you decide to do it, make sure that you have this thing on you. So when he finished high school, the present I gave him twofold. I gave him a $50 Visa card and a pack of condoms. Very simple, right?
Okay, let me confess. Let me confess.
Was he what?
Was he
Let me confess. Embarrassed.
Embarrassment. I know we know there for embarrassment when I talk to those boys which embarrass on top what? On top sex. No, I know what you're capable of. I've seen you in action. I'm just telling you that when you choose to do it, make sure it's not going to cost you 18 years of your life. That's all. Embarrassment.
I have a confession. From primary school to secondary school, I used to have crushes on very, very pretty teachers. Enuka knows one of them. Like, there was one, I'm not going to, you took a picture of that, and I told you that In fact, because of that teacher,
Oh yes.
grow up. Because of that teacher, I could not wait to grow up on turn 18. That
Oh yes,
lady
it was
was
so pretty.
just too fine.
Yeah.
That lady was just too fine.
That's why Macron went back and married the one that he was in love with.
I'm supposed to be president of Nigeria by now. If the things connected and the way I planned, that woman was just too pretty. If you see, oh God,
It still is. It's still really, really,
can
really.
you remember how she used to dress then?
Yes.
Mini
Yes.
skirt, a short skirt, slightly, and then tight blouse. Then she walks like a model. Can you remember?
Yes.
It's a very difficult thing for a male child, actually. I know we're laughing about it now, but that thing, like my son, it was the first time I owned up to his mom that, honestly speaking, I don't know how to correct this thing that he's feeling. I had no solution, honestly. All I could tell him is that, look, if you don't control yourself, you will make it. I had no way to, I did not know how to explain, because I knew that it was not something that he could. So the only thing I could go along the lines that, look, there must be consent and all those things. But in terms of, say, his flag will suddenly start saluting, I had no solution, no suggestion. Only basically those are one of the few times I knew I had nothing much in terms of much wisdom, except for don't do the one that 18 years after you're still paying for like 10 seconds of enjoyment.
Exactly. Kayode, you reminded me of something actually. My son is gay, but before I knew that, I was determined to give him the exact level of sex education that I gave my daughter. My daughter is 5 years older than him. Because this is a common mistake that I think a lot of parents make. They always worry about pregnancy for their daughters, but they never worry about pregnancy for their sons. Now, there's no doubt that it affects girls more, but it affects boys too. Yeah. Like if two teenagers get knock themselves up. Yeah, the girl is stuck at home. She may be the one that can't go to uni, but that boy knows. He's aware that he made someone pregnant and it will affect him deeply.
If he's a good boy.
Yeah. Like if he's not a psychopath, it will affect him deeply. And it will never be able to relax like all the other boys. It's just his experience, his whole experience of university will be different. And I just used to think to myself, why would anybody want that for their son? And I felt very deeply that it's not just my daughter I don't want to get pregnant as a teenager. I also don't want my son to knock up anyone as a teenager. And I felt like in Nigerian society especially, we are just hyper-focused on only the female and never the male. I mean, there are obvious reasons for it, but, it's not like it's completely harmless for the boy either,
Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks for reminding me.
Consequences.
Yeah.
Exactly, for both sexes.
Yeah. So, if you be... Oh, okay. You wanted to say something?
I was going to say, as a parent too, you are partly responsible when your teenage son knocks somebody off. Are you going to walk away and say it's not my?
That's why.
Whether you like it or not. No, whether you like it or not, that's your first grandchild.
Hey, some walk away. Some don't.
How many of you have watched Apostle? We hear about the full skits. How many of us have this?
First reaction was
you know that even though it was funny, that was the first time I really understood the role of a parent. The man was sounding like a demented human being for the first 5 minutes because he couldn't control what he was saying. You what? You impregnated a 16-year-old what? Is that shouting his mother's name? Okay. You pregnant? What? Apostle must hear about this. Jesus is like, he was just shouting. He was saying everything sayable. In fact, when he ran out of word, he went to go and carry mop stick. He said, you're going to work in McDonald's. They'll put you in jail. Where you going?
Yes,
he wanted to stop the boy. Before the boy came out and
said, where he said that you go back to Nigeria.
Yeah.
I'm taking you back to Nigeria. I'm thinking, sir, you don't go to jail.
I'll buy you first class tickets.
And Nigeria is prison. Why are we always threatening our kids with that shit?
No, don't say that. Oh. I've had, there was a time, I had this relative. The guy was not obeying his father very well, and they were living in the UK. So when the guy eventually laid hand on his son, the British police locked the dad up the weekend. As he came out from that detention, they said because he beat him too much. So the guy said, okay, no problem. He didn't say anything. After 3 months, he said that he's launching his house in Nigeria. Oh. This is my 13-year-old son. Are you coming? Because there's going to be party. I'm inviting the band. I'm inviting what's his name? The plantation boys. So the party is going to be on. That boy just thought about the party. He said he wants to go. He said, no, after what he did, you're not coming to Nigeria. It's only me and your sister and your mom, because your sister has been very obedient. The guy beg. Finally, they convinced the dad. They bought him 2 tickets. Enter Nigeria Airways. Phew. As the plane just went airborne and left British airspace, the father decided to ask him, hey, what did you do in April? What was that all about? So the boy wanted to start, and this is a true story. Do you know that when the boy started raising his voice, it was a Nigerian air hostess that slapped him. Nigerian air hostess, like the woman just could not bear it. Like they're like, what? Who are you talking to? Is that your friend? Is that my dad? Oh, blah blah blah. So by that default, the guy just understood that parade has changed. He just understood everything. From the airport, like he carried back for his head, everything. Like, did you see the secondary school the father took him to?
His father did not brush him.
I've never been to that village before. Sorry?
See, his father did not brush him in the airplane. My friend walked.
No, there's nothing. Now, as they reach the house, now the brushing starts before he can't carry and go one remote village.
I can tell you stories. My friend worked at the airport. This is in the 2000s. A woman came into Nigeria with her children from the UK. As the plane landed, he said it's inside the plane, the woman started brushing her children. She beat them till they went to get luggage. As if they beat her picking, they go. They didn't go back with her. And when she was beating them, somebody offered to hold her handbag. As if so it was when my friend came back from work, and she was like, those children must have messed up. And they forgot their mother was a Nigerian woman. Now, I'm not also want to beat. I'm not really want to beat.
No.
But I will.
Some parents are abusive.
Something you like.
No. If you're a parent and you can bottle up something like that for 6 months, they decide to react. To me, that's an abuse. It's premeditated abuse. But if it's instantaneous, as the crime is occurring, I am meting out justice instantly around the crime scene. Fine for me. But let us say we carry on.
Those kids, when they get to that point, when they figure out that they have power over you as a parent, right? So it's not immediately that the parent actually decides to do this thing, because it's a lot of money that they actually put to it. So when before a parent decides that, hey, you know what, we need to go to Nigeria and basically ignore bills and gather money that we are going to Nigeria, plus the money they will use to pay your school fees in the local school they are going to put you in. Because this brush, after they brush you finish, they're not going to leave you uneducated. They'll put you in school and pay the tuition plus boarding house.
No, but you know, some of these people, they take the piss. Nigerians are annoying sometimes. They'll go to London. They don't want to spend money to live in a decent neighborhood. They'll be trying to save money, living in Peckham, living in Brixton. Their kids are going to these fucking gang-infested schools, and then they're surprised when they start acting a certain way.
Yeah,
when they have money to go and draw and pay in Nigeria every Christmas.
They were hoping that
pay extra money for a decent house in a decent neighborhood.
They were hoping.
Then they'll send the child to Nigeria. We will teach you sense there. I've seen
Let me
that
tell you
so
a
many
story.
times.
I heard in uni, and Roboman. Let me tell you this story. My friend's uncle, his son reported him to the police. They came, they arrested him. They lived in the UK. I can't remember what happened, but when he came back, he took his son's game. I think it was a PS3 then, and sold to his son's friend. So his son had this neighbor, a Caucasian boy whose parents didn't have money, a classmate. He asked the boy, how much do you have? Maybe the boy had like £20. He sold the game with all the games to the boy. You know what a PS3 cost then?
For 20
When his
pounds.
son came back, oh, where's my game? Where's my game? He said, did you buy it? It's my game. He told his son, I will sell this house. I can't live in my brother's basement. You'll be homeless. You'll go into the system. If you ever pick up the phone and report me to the police again, that child never did it. I believe children are terrorists and should be treated as such.
That's not true.
Because if you leave them,
That was a good punishment.
yes,
That's
if
not
you
terrorists
leave
in
them,
the
they take phone call. If you take a handshake, they will take elbow. That thing is
No.
very true.
No,
Like,
here in
that's what
South
you actually
Africa.
on me once. I thought
No,
I should go ahead.
it's not lying. Here in South Africa, when your child goes to school, the teacher is the number one amebo. She'll be studying the child. Why are you not happy? Did your daddy beat you? Did your mommy beat you? If the child mistakenly nods his or her head, they don't report you for system. In a phone call you go receive for office, social services. We want to see you to so and so place.
It's
We
good
just come.
because
You
some
go
of us
see
Africans,
principal.
we are very lazy parents. We just want to
You see
them
principal. You go see teacher. You go see your pikin for the middle of the seat. Not only him they go give seat. Oh. You and every other adult will be standing answering to that child. So you know what my friend did? My friend said it was a private school, so my friend said I spent money on top the money I spent. They still screwed me over. No problem. So he waited for 3 months, then withdrew them from the school and took them to a public school. Then the school started writing my friend that they've not seen the gym. He said no, that business became so terrible. So he couldn't afford the school fees again. Then he said they said no, they saw the children weekend, they were wearing Gucci. He said no, it's the Gucci he bought for them last Christmas that they didn't see before. But now it's there. So you can imagine the school went as far as even contacting social services that the guy removed them from it. But the law, you have to prove it that he could not afford it or he could afford the school. Do you understand? So that's why the children just downgrade from where they
Are they inside his pockets? What's going on there?
But you see that that guy doesn't have sense, so he's going to punish his children by lowering the standard of education that they get just because he doesn't want to get into trouble. Those kids won't
be public school is not public school as we know it. It's not like neglected people. The standard is higher. It's just that you're not going to be around rich kids. That's the difference. The standard is very high.
So why did he send them to private school? Just so they can be around rich kids?
Fake it till you make
but
it.
That's what they are for.
That man has no sense. Nothing he has.
Actually, that's the benefit.
There's also a problem that Nigerians have where they think they have to send their kids to private school. That even happened in Canada, where we know the public schools are. I know, I have some friends that they send their kids to private schools. Like, what's wrong with the school system? You are living in a very good area where the public schools are good, but no, he wanted to spend money on private school. So that's like in Nigeria.
They're elitists, and you know what elitists are usually what elitists do. They push their children to achieve things the children don't need to achieve.
Exactly.
For the parents.
I can hug you for this.
Softly, they read my mind because these people, the smart and the girl don't enter university at 16. They do medicine. After like 3 or 4 years.
How does a 16-year-old read?
There's some countries that allow it.
So I now ask, how is she doing? The guy said, let her just finish any degree whatsoever. So I knew that they had probably pushed her to the point where she basically just,
She probably quit.
yeah,
We never
Yep.
know what we're doing, honestly.
yeah. You wanted
we,
to
need
say,
to, we need to let kids be kids. Why?
well, say some people still like that story of, got into university at 13, was graduated at 17.
That's a major disaster. Allowing your
So, I mean,
kids into higher institution at tender age.
I know.
It's a disaster.
education. And it is disturbing. Today I spoke to a pretty intelligent man, quite wealthy, in Lagos, Igbo man. And he told me his daughter was 18 in year 3.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And my face changed. And I said to him, you've ruined that girl's life.
Meanwhile, he's boasting about it in his mind. He's done a great thing.
I don't
By
get
the
it.
time I finished telling him, he looked sad.
Because nobody
Wait.
ever told him that.
Think about university in Nigeria. Think about it. Why did all those boys in secret courts that they were using, that they were shooting and killing? Did you ever ask their ages? How old were they?
They were
Because
all young.
Usually babies.
Yeah, 15, 16, 17, they're in year 1.
Who
Because
wanted to belong.
You know,
they don't know any better.
15, 16, 17.
And apart from that,
oh,
when you hear about what they call it, Jambite Roach,
Yes.
Jambite Roach,
yeah.
it wasn't 18-year-olds like me now.
Underage kids, 16,
was babies.
15, 16-year-olds. You know,
In South Africa, you cannot jump class. You cannot step before your time. You must be 18 at the time of your graduation or matriculation.
Yeah.
You made a statement earlier that about public schools in SA not doing what you
Yeah.
want. We know it.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. People need to change their perspectives about what Lagos State public schools are. That's for us that grew up in Lagos State.
No, I support you.
I served 6 weeks in a district in Lagos State, and I will say this for free. Lagos State is amazing with the things they have put in place for education. It will shock you to your bones that is available in Lagos.
Where? Everywhere in Lagos or just certain areas?
Everywhere in Lagos. Public schools.
Okay, let me explain what you say.
Everybody don't complain about school fees in Lagos.
No, let me explain what Enuka is saying. While I was like the Jambai period, Lagos State used to organize all these science and tech competitions, different academic. Guess the people who win them. It was always the public school children.
Yes.
Rarely the private school children ever win.
Yes.
Very it was. I hope she didn't fall.
No,
are you okay? Okay. I'm still liking your new house. So but what I'm trying to say is that it was always the public school children that were winning these prizes. So I started asking the question, why do people rush to private public schools and not private? Then I started thinking about the UK. As at that time, most of the prime ministers from UK all went to public schools. They were not private school children. I'm like, so what's it for? There was one old man that told me, said that the purpose of private school is for your children to be around big men children, so that when they grow up with the network and it will help them when they are. Because technically, you cannot break a child's brain and force education, no matter where you take it. If the child is dyslexic, you just have to wait for him. You know, I was dyslexic in secondary school. Why? I couldn't pick anything and concentrate and read. However, I made up for it by always being in class. I have a very eidetic memory. So everything the teacher says registers in my brain. So there was a time, I don't know whether to. There was a time that there was this subject I passed. I think it was chemistry. And people just didn't understand it because my notes were incomplete. People barely saw me read. I was very dyslexic. But yes, so they held my paper and took me to the CI academics office and forced me to rewrite another chemistry exam, and I passed. Instead of them to congratulate me, they just said I should press up. And they brought out fan belt and flogged me 6 strokes.
What?
Why?
Yeah, because they said I wasn't serious. I wasn't a serious person.
That's crazy.
So basically, that you have been
They
failing
punish you,
because
they
you're not
punish you
serious.
for having sense.
The point is that I allowed them to conduct a research that was useless. Imagine you are going to type out another exam sheet for me to write, then only for me to go and pass it. And they were like, wait, this guy is not even what we thought he was.
Wow.
That is so wrong.
Well,
As in,
so if you are watching the show, I want to use this opportunity to thank you. We're coming to the 3 hours mark. Please don't forget to like, subscribe. It helps us a lot. I'm sure Abby is watching. She's been sedated because of the pain she's going through, and it's not easy. She's I think the screen is above her, so she's just watching from there. So thank you, Oga Kaede. Thank you, Hamza Zahid. Abumi, you still give us a virtual tour of your new house. Really appreciate you for.
Give us the virtual tour now.
I can't. It's too messy.
Okay, wait. When we go offline,
In the mansion.
then I also want to thank our virtual Candy, the good wife, the serious and the great one, you know. So thank you for building yourself. Then Eduka, my 5 and 6. Wait, how many classes do you? I'll ask you now. Until next time.
They look you as they look up. I'm looking at you as you're looking at him.
Oh, okay. So until next time, bye bye everybody.